Nosotros trabajamos duro.
We don't want to get you gun for nothing. We want to buy it. Look, I have a gold watch with a gold chain. Made in your own country. The watch and the chain, they worth at least 200 pesos. Bueno, muchachos, vamos. Agarren la caballada y escóndala allá atrás. Se meten a la maleza. ¡Pronto! ¡Píquenle! ¡Vámonos, vámonos! ¡Éntrenle!
Christopher Francese, it was an honor to have you over here for our house, to have you for a nice sit-down conversation and everything. So, anyway, I'll bring it back for the podcast, but I couldn't help but do, the Godfather
Just
kind
missing
of.
the pinky ring.
Who, you or me?
No, me.
Oh, you are. I was saying, no, you have like the modern day look going for you with the tracksuit and everything. But real quick, oye, bienvenidos, nosotros trabajamos duro. Oye, tú eres aquí con Christopher Francese. And now we bring it back to English, as you know, with your host Christopher Allen and all that. But this is another comedian, Christopher Francese, and son of a gangster, related to Michael Francese.
Yep.
So that's man, there's a whole lot of madness going on there. But real quick, so you're kind of like a real Christopher Maltasanti in a way, because growing up, can you tell me a little bit about that? What was it like growing up, and how did you kind of find out that your father was into the Cosa Nostra?
How was he a made man?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I didn't find out till a little bit later from my grandmother, actually, Loretta. And I'm not related. I mean, it's more by marriage, because Michael Francese, my uncle by marriage, he was a part of the Colombo crime family.
Right, okay.
His brother Johnny Francese was married to a woman named Denise. That's who my dad's related to. So he wasn't like the direct brother he became a brother in a way because of part of the Colombo family, but he was made, and he and my mom, they met in Oregon when he then changed his name to Jason and tried to live a different life because he got himself in some trouble in Kansas City. This was in 88, 89. And I was born in 90, and
okay.
Unfortunately, I was a prom baby. I was a complete fucking mistake is what I was. So
Gotcha.
No, but anyway,
right.
So my dad, his real name's Salvatore, and he went by Jason when he met my mom in high school, because he dropped out. Then he got made shortly after they were together. They were together for about a year. Then they had me.
Okay.
And then when she found out, and he became violent, unfortunately, with her.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
No, I mean it's funny. She told me that, and I don't want to speed track this, so I'll stay with your question.
Yeah. No, it's all good, man. However the conversation goes.
Yeah. But so growing up, I didn't grow up with a father. He was gone out of my life. When my mom found out, and she explained this to me later, but when she found out, she dumped him. And then, moved us to California. I mean, I was born in California, but we went back and forth a little after I was born, and she tried to make things work with him, but he's a violent guy. And then he ended up getting back into the life. They said, look, you're done hiding out. You got work to do. You're a soldier. You need to get to Kansas City. So if you ever see the movie Casino, that's a lot of what my dad did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that brings me back on something. All right. Because let me put it on pause, because now I've got questions kind of in between. So when did your dad sort of get involved with the mafia, the Colombo family? Because you said you were born in 88. It seems like he was
90.
90. My bad. But you mentioned 88 is when.
When I think it was actually 87 when my parents met.
Okay, and this is out here in
Oregon.
They meet in Oregon.
They meet in Oregon because he's hiding out. He tries to change his life, and he tries to get out of it. He got involved early 80s when he was a young teenager. I don't know if there's an age restriction on when you can be a made man in the mob. I know he's fully Italian, so he had that going for him. One good thing going for him. Not much else, but other than becoming a gangster. But anyway, so he was involved, and he just, a little shit kicker. He just did favors and stuff in New York and the Bronx. From the backstory I got from my aunt, from his mother, my grandmother, and so basically he got involved when he was really young, and then he was made, I don't know when, then he just like backtracked. He was like, oh shoot, man, I don't know if I can do this. Then he got out of it, and then he met my mom in Medford, Oregon, where he was hiding out. I was conceived, and that's how I know I'm a prom baby, because I was born February 25th, 1990. Oh, you dial it back 9 months, well, that's the end of May. I'm like, fucking mom, I know you messed around at prom. I wasn't meant to be here, god damn it. So anyway, so I ended up finding out about him later on. My mom finally sat me down and said, look, this is why you don't have a dad. I always had a stepdad growing up, and we can get into that too. I mean, it's in my comedy. I talk a little bit about that. Yeah. But I grew up with the black stepdad, which is really cool. But
all right, cool.
Grew up in Richmond, California, one of the few white kids in that area. But no, she told me, look, I had to get away from him. I didn't want you to be involved in that life. I don't want our family to be involved in that life. I ended up, legally taking her last name. So comedy-wise, I go by his last name, like kind of like an oxymoron.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
And some bits I won't get into, but it's kind of part of like a persona. Like I want to be dressed up on stage. I want to come across like this professional guy. Yeah. But the minute I open my mouth, I go, "Holy shit, what is this dude?" So, and I like to confuse people. I like to be very confusing to the audience.
Oh yeah.
Because it keeps me unpredictable. But anyway, so like back to my dad. 80s, he comes up. He gets made Colombo crime, one of the 5 families in New York. Backs out of it. He meets my mom. He thinks he could have a different life.
Yeah, and like real quick, and like so again, because I just want to check in just to see things, just to keep the. So you say he's like, so he's kind of on the run at that point, but he's also like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, and that's when he's in Oregon. I'm just guessing, so let me know if I'm right or wrong.
I mean, it's funny. Like I think of like when I first cleaned a fish. Like when someone showed me how to do it, and that's when I stopped fishing. I don't know if he like was like a part of like some messed up interrogation, because like you probably know this, the government, the FBI would hire mob guys to torture people to get information out of them.
I've never heard this one. I know whenever the government used the mafia back in the 40s, because the Germans were like using, like Nazis were coming in, sneaking in with like the docks and everything, and they're like, listen, we can't be having none of this like going on, so the mob got involved in that.
Oh yeah, big time, they did.
But I didn't know about the
Yeah,
I mean, I know that they flip people and stuff, but anyway, you were saying with them?
No, so he, the rumor I got from one of my cousins on directly with his family, and then again my grandmother, and of all things, he and his family, my family, I guess his side of the family, they're from Sicily. A lot of them are from Florence, Italy. She's from Florence. She moved, of all places, to Chico, California, and then hits me up via text. I haven't spoken. I don't even know if she's alive anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so God bless you if you're out there. But she hits me up. Is like, look, I'm sorry about your dad. I don't agree with his life, but I'd like to connect with you. You're my grandson. And I just never really connected with her, unfortunately. Nobody really on that side of his family. My mom kept me away from him. So, my uncle Michael, who again is like an uncle by marriage, he emerged, and I've only spoken to him a couple of times. I got to spend a Thanksgiving with him, and we can talk about him later. Yeah. But but I have not since 2017 had any sort of contact with him, and not necessarily by choice. It's just like, we were talking about this earlier off camera, but like COVID happened, and I've been meaning to reconnect with him because he's turned his whole life around.
Yeah, no, he's...
But to the thing about the FBI, and what I was saying is like, when I first cleaned a fish, I learned I don't want to fish, man. I don't want to do this. I saw the guy gut it, cut its head off. He's like, you stick the knife here, that's its asshole, then you drag it up and dump its guts out. It's like, dude, I don't want to do this. I am not a violent guy. So I don't know if he like got that, and like that's why I brought up the FBI and like torture and shit. It's like I don't know if he like beat up his first like victim was like, oh shit, no, I'm gonna go to Oregon and meet this nice white lady and try to change my name to Jason and be a different guy. Like I have no idea. Like I'm just speculating. But one of my cousins told me about the whole FBI thing, and he thinks he was involved, in assisting the government with some shady business. I mean, like I say earlier, he was in Kansas City. He went on the run, and he just overall really tried to get out of the life. But the life, I mean, it's funny. It's like Pacino in Godfather Part 3. They bring me back in. Like I think he must have had that moment. I don't know. But he man, it's crazy. It sucks because I grew up without a dad. But, I can understand why. I don't want to grow up with a dad that's a gangster.
Gotcha. No, for sure. It's like because that was another question, too. I know you said we established like that, like you didn't grow out with like him being around necessarily about, because I wasn't sure if it was, because that's almost like I said earlier about Maltasanti, like he kind of grew up too. His dad had been like killed or whatever, but he grew up, but he got involved with the family by being around it. You were just never around anybody else who was kind of like
now. Fortunately,
involved.
They're opposite coasts. They're prevalent in New York. Obviously, Italy. They're still big in Italy. But now it's after Giuliani. I mean, he really fucked him up. He drained the swamp, so to speak, when it came to the mob. I mean, the five families are still there. It's actually unknown now. The Colombo family that my dad was in. They don't know who the captain is. Like if you try to go online and look it up on Wikipedia, it's like unknown because the last guy got locked up. I think he just got locked up I think it was in 2022.
Really? Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. I can't remember his name. We could look it up, but he just got locked away for a bunch of stuff, and then now somebody else. The consigliere, the lawyer, is listed in a lot of the structure of the family.
That's interesting. Well, I guess that makes sense in today's society because the consigliere's got the promotional or the human resources.
Got to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
So that means they have a degree, or they did the bar, right? So they're kind of legit.
And so their face has to be out there one way because they're representing. So I can see them being on there, but that's like a smart thing to where, like, I guess what is it, like the boss of bosses is not officially listed, where no one really. The name's never really given, I guess. That's smart on their part.
Yeah, they gotta keep. I mean, the mafia today is, and it's so romanticized. And in fact, you know what? Speaking of romanticized, dude, we got to do a cheers. But
we never
thanks
did
for having me, man.
Yeah, salute.
Hell yeah.
Of course, Christopher Francese.
Salute.
When you come into my house, you're always welcome as a guest. We'll sit down in the conversation. We are men among men, and whoever is a friend of a friend. There's a friend here.
Hell yeah, bro. But they're in the Whitby's in Sacramento.
Right.
There's no mafia out here, just Bloods and Crips.
Yeah, that's crazy. Shoot, because I don't want to lose like where we're at, but like the mafia was like, as far as I feel like with the romanticism and the kind of America's view on it, there's probably some, I guess, of the 1920s, there's always that, but I feel like the main thought is like it's mainly the 30s. Definitely the 30s and 40s are the big hit, but then I feel like they had like a really great run in the 50s and 60s, and then during The Sopranos, you're kind of watching the end of the mafia. That's the...
Yeah, and you know what's cool is Sopranos had it so accurate that mob bosses were actually contacting
I've heard of that.
them and saying, dude, you used the situation I was in. What the fuck? Like, you guys are like, how? Like, and they were the biggest gripe though, and Sopranos is a phenomenal show. But the biggest gripe, and even my uncle, a couple of my cousins who were connected to my father, my uncle, I remember, having him around for holidays, my Uncle Sonny, and he's like the closest connection I have to anybody who still knew my dad. And just full disclosure too, so my father was murdered in January of 2019.
Okay, damn.
His body was found in New Jersey. I forget where, but I remember getting a call and they were like, hey, your biological father just because of your birth certificate, we're letting you know he's deceased, and you know, do you want to come see him and all this stuff? And I said no, and I was like scared they were gonna have me come ID his body, because I was like, dude, I haven't seen him. Like, so if I ID his body, you know, I'm gonna go back to that fucking fish. Like, you know, I don't want to do this.
Are you kind of like that? You don't like being around like dead bodies or any kind of...
I just don't like violence, man.
Okay, I get you. That's probably a healthy thing.
Yeah, like, I don't like violence. I mean, it's hard for me to watch it in movies. It's
interesting,
just,
huh?
I'm a peaceful guy.
No, I get you.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that could be a genetic thing to where kind of like you... Because I don't know how much is like... They say that like some memory and stuff is carried in genetics. Do you think that could come from like... Maybe your father being like, oh shit, this is heavier than I thought it was going to, and it just went into the DNA to where it's like, this isn't the way to go about stuff.
I was going to say, man, I don't know if it's that deep. I just think I'm a bitch. No. No. So maybe it is. You know what's funny? There was a female comedian.
Yeah.
And she said something interesting to me yesterday. She goes, you know, I'm so used to like fucking male comics, they're hitting on me, and she's like, that's why I love talking to you, Christopher. And I was like, well, I'm not gay. And then but she was like, no. She's like, what I'm saying to you is that you know, obviously you're respectful, but you know, she goes, you got feminine energy, and I got insulted.
Energy.
I was like, feminine energy. I was like, you might as well just call me gay. Like, what the fuck? What do you mean feminine energy? She goes, stop, don't get so defensive. She's like, it's a good thing. It means you're well-rounded, you're sensitive, you have empathy. Like, it's like, calm down. I was getting defensive. I was like, I just barbecued yesterday. I just barbecued. I just shot guns, bitch. Like, how dare you? I was like, my manhood hurt for a minute, but she was actually giving me a compliment.
No, I get you. It's like, I've never heard of anything, because I feel the same way. My feminine in it.
Like, why did you do that?
If a chick told me, like, I'm like, feminine energy, I'm like, hang on, am I coming... I'd have the same thought. Am I coming across like gay for whatever reason?
Great, thanks.
Yeah, no, it's just a funny term to put it, like feminine energy.
No, but she was being sweet. She was giving me a good compliment. But that's the answer, is that, you know, I think where it comes from, it could be genetic. You bring up a good point. I never thought about that. But I think ultimately, you know, I feel thankful because I was raised by my mom and my grandmother. And, you know, it was a blessing and a curse, because all the time I heard, oh, you fucking men, you know, oh, you're going to grow up and you're not going to ever buy your girlfriend flowers. And my grandma would, like, we'd be walking on the street, she'd go, get your little ass on this side next to the street where there's cars. She's like, you walk on this side of the street. So they're like just molding me to be the opposite of their ex-boyfriends and ex-husbands.
But I almost feel like that, like, but I could see that though in like Italian culture, like too, as like a dad or an uncle, like some of the men be like, hey, you walk on this side of the street with the lady. Because I can see that. Like, very, you know what I mean?
There's simps with women, too. I mean, I totally have been guilty, at least when I was younger. I'm not now. Thank God OnlyFans wasn't around 15 years ago, because I would have been fucked. I would have filed for bankruptcy.
Shit.
Holy shit, dude. Because, like, there's a lot of simps that go out there. And look, I'm not judging anybody. I have my own ailments with porn and stuff, too. But my point is, like, Italian men, it's like, and it might be this way just with Europeans in general, they like let women get away with a lot of stuff. You know, at least I've seen it in my family. I can't speak for everybody. Everybody's unique. But, you know, like, and I think French people are more this way, French men. But they like to be romantic. They like to kind of be, like, at least with the cousins I've met, it's like, I remember they're telling me about their baby mamas, and I'm like, dude, why are you letting these women treat you this way?
Damn.
Yeah, so, you know, anyway, the point is, like, you know, I think the growing up, being raised by my mom and my grandmother, I think is what made me really detest violence and just try to be peaceful.
That makes sense.
That's what I like. You know, that's why I've been having a hard time with comedy, because I am, you know, a conservative guy, so I had to be careful going on stage and messing around, you know, because that was my intro, is I'd come out and say, your favorite motherfucking California Republican has arrived. That's the first thing out of my mouth. And before the election, everybody was cool with it until like the week before the election.
Oh, shit.
Then they'd look at me and go, fuck you, especially out here in Sacramento.
See, because Sacramento to me, California is an interesting spot because
Yeah.
Northern California, you got enough like really hardcore, like I'll say like now just because of our election that we had,
Yeah.
everything. We, Trump supporters or whatever. I guess you could technically call them conservatives. I don't know. I haven't been out here. I've only been out here since like Trump's kind of been in office or running
fair
or
enough.
kind of been.
Okay.
And I never really lived in California.
Yeah.
Prior to that to know how like it was with like conservatives or anything. It seems like with Trump there's been enough of like a divide all across the nation that it's like okay, it might not like matter, but like the point that I'm getting is like I feel like here in Sacramento you see like a fair amount of Trump supporters.
Yeah.
The same as that, like it's like a good divide here. It's like you have like the Harris or the Democrats and you have like the Republican.
Yeah, it's just the
supporters.
comedy audience. At least, and most comedians are pretty liberal. And like
Yeah.
my why I brought that up is because like just like with violence, like the opposite of how my dad was. I like peace. Like so I stopped doing that intro with comedy because I don't want the divide. Like
I got you.
I want to be in line with as many people as I can. Whether I, align with someone else's beliefs, it doesn't even matter to me. I'm like, how can we find a way to just get along and have a good time?
Right. And real quick, I would say with that line, I think it's a good line, but just get a little bit more established to where like, so maybe some of the audience knows you a little bit to where then they get where they're coming from. Like, oh yeah, I know this guy. Because it's kind of like Nick DiPaolo or whatever is more Republican or conservative. So I can
He's
see.
like in your face about it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I respect his ability to do it. I definitely don't want to go down that route with comedy.
Yeah.
I'm more silly, absurd. I'm very dark.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go down that route of like becoming like a political comedian.
Yeah, yeah.
Because first of all, it's so much harder. So I give him a lot of credit, or even guys like Bill Maher. Or Lewis Black, or whoever else we can think of. But I'm just like, dude, God bless you. Or even David Cross, guys like that. If they could be funny and like talk about serious political issues, I'm like, more power to you, bro. I just want to go up there and honestly probably just do dick jokes.
Right. Well, the thing is with those comics though, and maybe Bill Maher more so made it his whole thing to be political, but like kind of with me, like some of my favorite comics, what I like to do is like I want to touch on heavy issues that I have a real thought on or whatever. But I can always like see like both sides of the argument in a sense. So it's but I definitely want to give you like my voice to it. But 100%. I definitely kind of want to touch on both sides. So it's like, hey, I can see it, but even though I see both sides, I can still make fun of it from seeing both angles of it. And here's like, and at the end, I still come to this like point.
I do the same thing, and it's very self-deprecating. So I go out and I say I'm a California Republican, but then I make fun of myself for being a California Republican because it's like you got to be self-aware. So I remember your set and congrats that night. You won the thing.
Thank you.
You did do jokes that went towards both sides.
Yeah,
which is badass. Like I solely just I try to make fun of myself a ton. It's very self-deprecating. But when I did the California Republican bits, they were all just making fun of the fact that, how dare I be this conservative guy and live in California?
That's funny. I do like that concept.
Yeah, that's the angle I'm coming at it with. It's almost like being a Cleveland Browns fan. Like you know you're gonna lose. Like Kamala won the state like in seconds. So like the poll opened at, I think a Tuesday night. I think we opened at 9 p.m. if I'm not mistaken. And it was like boom, she wins California.
It's 9:01.
And I'm sitting there like in my red bathtub, like shit.
Bathtub.
Yeah, go me, fucking idiot.
No, but with that though, I always have respect when someone stays true to their guns or their own like core beliefs.
Oh, totally.
Even when they're outnumbered, it's like, bro, that's the thing. Like, that's where the respect comes from. It's like at least you're truthful, 100%. Not just like you, but anybody in that scenario. It's like, bro, they didn't pander to nobody. They stuck to who they were and all that.
I heard a good quote from a guy I know, and he was like, when it comes to pandering or comedy, it's like it's got to be either 40% for you, 60% for the audience, or 60% for you, 40% for the audience. He's like, you take it or leave it, whichever way you go, and I somewhat agree with that.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I never want to like fully pander. I do dark, really messed up shit in terms of my setup and premise. The punchline, I then try to make it more absurd and silly, just to kind of like they go, where is he going? Where is it? Oh, okay, and then laugh, right? Hopefully, not always, but you know, so that's where I come from it with. But yeah, I mean, to your point, it's like that's the art, you know, of comedy. To me, is like. You know, that's why sometimes if they don't laugh, I still might laugh. Because, like, I'm like, fuck, I find it funny.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's why I wrote it. But, like, there's a real art of, like, I guess, like, almost like salesmanship. Like, you have to sell it to a group of people who don't know who you are. They've never met you. Some might have. The comics might know you.
Yeah,
the host, whoever put you on that show might know you. But a lot of these open mics that, you know, that I do at the level I'm at right now, which is very fresh, most of these people don't know who the fuck I am. So I'm like, I gotta like sell them this whole idea, then bring them along to this ride and then say, boom, there's the punchline. Hopefully they laugh. And you know, that
I mean, that's almost all of us in comedy.
That's
though.
everybody.
Yeah.
That's everybody. But like my whole thing is like, I don't want to pander to bring them on that ride or to give them that punchline. Like the punchline I want to give them is a gift. And, you know, but I don't want to pander a gift to them.
Yeah.
You know, like it's gotta be somewhere authentic, right?
Right. I'll tell you this. This is something I found out, and I almost feel like I'm getting ready to give myself a little bit of advice. I haven't done too much, but one thing I found is like I try not to. I don't like to use the term. I mean, pander if you do pander, whatnot. But I found like there's ways to like you can kind of make things personal between you and the audience. I'm not even talking about going deep or doing what maybe someone considered crowd work. But there's times where like I'll just have like a 2-3 word. I don't know, like a couple sentence, like paragraph, or like a couple sentence conversations. What I meant to say with the audience, like, yeah, what's up with your job? You don't like it, blah blah blah. Yeah. And then I go into something, but if I find a way to make something personal, or be like, you comfortable if we go into something a little bit darker here after kind of getting a little bit personal? Then they're ready to kind of go further on that journey because I guess they had like it's like they're not just like the audience through the comic anymore. There's like a slight
there's trust.
There's that. There's a slight connection there.
There's good connection.
There's something there at least that's like okay, I'm kind of like I don't even know if it makes them more comfortable, but sometimes it's like for whatever reason they're more open to taking whatever kind of ride that you're going to give them on instead of just going into va-boom, 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 and then however you take it.
Yeah.
So it seems like that. If you can, like, as long as a connection can be made, then it seems like they're more ready to take whatever kind of journey you're going to take them on.
Hell yeah. I had to learn that somewhat the hard way, you know, when I first started writing, I'm like, all right, you know, try to be dark, try to be so fucked up and make it, it's like, okay, it's not always funny, so you got to be funny first. And you know, that's how all of us have learned, right?
Yeah.
You go up there and you try something out, it doesn't work, and then you listen to it, and holy shit, man, you could tell me, and I'm sure every comic who hears this is gonna go, oh, of course. But you know, that pain of listening to your own voice, your own set, it's like, dude, it's like, I swear to God, dude, it's like it's like jerking off in a room full of mirrors. It's like
I don't know about that. That sounds.
Which I've tried. No, I'm kidding. I've not tried that. No, but it's, dude, when you hear your voice, and especially if it's a bad set, it's just like, oh God.
Oh yeah.
How do I get through this?
Yeah, no, that can be because, like, to me, luckily, just with my background where I've had to edit certain video and stuff, I finally found a way to get comfortable listening to my old voice. Found like a while back, found like a way to get comfortable listening to my voice as I did. But I can get it. But sometimes listening to your set, it just like sucks because you're just waiting for the laughter. But it's weird. Sometimes even if you don't have laughter, you can still be doing like well, but you're still waiting for like those big hits. Like obviously, like the best or better set you want to listen to are the one where there's constantly always that roar of laughter that's still around.
But do you feel like, because at least I do, do you feel like you learn more from when you bomb than when you do well?
It just depends on the set, because sometimes I've had, like, say for example, I have a set that does, and you could take it one way or the other, because I've had it to where I've had a set that does really well, then it bombs, then it does really well again. It's like, you listen to it to see what does, but sometimes there's not much of a difference in between it. It was just like, there might have been one infliction or something you did that caused it to like work at one and one that didn't. But sometimes it's like they balance one another. You can't like really learn. But then there's some to where it's like, oh, I did that this time and I didn't do that, or vice versa. It's like there's like times it's like, yeah, I'll learn something from bombing, like listening to a set versus that. But there's other times to where a set does so well that it's like, ooh, I did that there. That's what worked. So it's either way. But yeah,
That's
to
true.
answer your question, like, yeah, listen to a set that you do bomb in, you can like learn. Because like, yeah, you'll be like, oh yeah, just get rid of that. That's too long and bullshit here. That doesn't make sense. So like, yeah, to answer your question, yeah, you can learn from like some stuff that you bomb into where you're like, oh yeah, don't do that or blah blah blah.
I tend to write better after I bomb, like, you know, and not that I've bombed, and I know how now you know, because I've had some rough sets, but lately now it's more like a joke here, joke there bombs, because I like to mix in new with stuff I know that works.
Yeah, and that's
but
really
that took
good to
time.
do.
That took time. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I did bomb my fucking face off for like the first couple weeks of getting into it. I mean, I maybe got like a chuckle here and there, and I still don't do as well as I want to do, man. I'm really hard on myself, and I write all the time.
Well, yeah, you're still early into
yeah,
it.
I'm
It'll
still
happen,
really into
so.
it, but I'm like, no, you need to be better. You need to be funnier. So like, I'm like,
Oh, that's good. Like
constantly,
that's
yeah.
good work ethic though to have, like to constantly
Right.
strive. Yeah, but
Yeah, so it's like I know, like, after I listen to like a set that didn't work, I'll like completely flip around the jokes I do, or I'll completely, like you said earlier, I'll throw it away and say this just sucks, it's not funny, and then go in, and I tend to write so much better after I have like a shitty set, or, you know, a shitty night of comedy, because I've had it where I've gone to 2 mics and I bomb my ass off at both mics, and then that night I go home and go, shit, should I even keep doing this? Am I even fucking funny? So then I write and I'm like, okay, this is better material, and then I go and then it's a better set. You know, you do better, which is like the beauty of this too, is like it's not always good, but it's not always bad either.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and now, like I was saying, like, you know, it's not like I fully just like eat shit. Like, if a joke doesn't work, I tend to say, okay, well, fuck that joke. Or I'll say, oh man, what was I thinking? I guess that was funny to me. I must have schizophrenia or something. So, you know, like, I'll comment on it. And I see a lot of new comics that'll just keep plowing through, and it's like bomb, bomb, bomb. And I'm like, oh man. You know, just say something. Just say, "Oh man, well that sucked," and then like usually people go, "Okay, at least he or
Right.
she knows."
Right, but you
know?
don't want to always comment on your material. Every
No.
now and then it's good to be like, all right, yeah, I get it, that one sucked. But it's like, yeah, you don't want to constantly
No.
or do it too much, because someone's just like, all right, fuck, that sucked. But it's just like, yeah, it's just kind of digging for the good ones. But I mean, again, you're right. There's sometimes you like say something, especially if you're on a roll, and then you drop, and you say something and it drops flat. Then you want to definitely comment on that, because
Yeah.
then because you had that roll, so that'll help sustain it. But sometimes
Sustain
it's
the
like.
momentum.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like, bro, you're in the stagnant water still. Like, you know what I mean? You can't comment on whatever. You just gotta say something to create
Yep.
whatever.
It's like quicksand. You're just digging deeper.
Yeah. But what led you anyway into like getting into comedy? Because you seem like you had to have. We haven't talked about it here, but you have like more of like a business mindset, I guess. But what ended up like leading you to pursuing comedy though?
Well, you know, it's like I've always made people laugh. I've always had a good ability to be clever, I guess, and to make fun of things. And you know, I've been good with words, writing. But in college, you know, I had friends that did stand up. I would write some jokes for them. And this is
Interesting,
back.
okay.
This is back between 2008 to 2012. I went to Sac State, so you know, it was a challenge for me. It was like a puzzle. I was like, oh, I love jokes. And again, I've always made people laugh, like at work, friends, family. And what it came down to was, I think, you know, my childhood was rough. You know, I grew up in Richmond. I have Asperger's, so like I had a hard
Oh shit!
time.
I never would have guessed that.
Yeah,
Like,
well, it's a lot of it's to thank because of the upbringing I had. I mean,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
I got bullied a lot. You know, I don't know if we mentioned it yet, but I grew up in Richmond, California, the Bay Area.
yeah, we didn't get deep into it, but I'll
Yeah.
get into it a little bit more.
So you know, getting bullied a lot, being the only white kid, you had
Oh,
to be
shit.
good at comebacks. You had to be you had to have some thick skin. So I'm thankful for that. But you know, early on, I used to struggle with speech and really like picking up social cues. And I thank God for all the black families and friends I had growing up with, because man, you will learn social cues quick.
Gotcha.
So I'm very thankful for that, and not just black folks. I mean, I grew up, with there was a lot of Middle Eastern, Asian. It was just a cool like melting pot, which is, I mean, really that's all of California, but the Bay Area, especially the diversity there is just freaking awesome. So you get to learn about different culture, learn about different people, which I really enjoy doing. But what really drove me, again, I've always been funny just from having a traumatic childhood life, and growing up, and I was shot actually 2 times in a drive-by shooting.
Damn, Jesus Christ.
When I was 8 years old, got my head right here, kind of like Trump style, just like
grazed,
and on my leg right here, and so like all of those things, like, and I didn't have siblings growing up; it was just me, so I had to keep myself busy. I love movies, and I've always loved stand-up comedy. Like guys like Rodney Dangerfield. That's why I like to do one-liners. I think I mainly do jokes, one-liners, is because he's pretty much my favorite stand-up.
Oh, okay, hell yeah.
Him, and then I've always liked guys like Jamie Foxx, Bernie Mac, and a lot of people like who have the opposite of what I don't really feel like I have a lot of charisma up there. Like I don't act or physical, So I like to watch a lot of those guys because I'm like, man, I like Eddie Murphy in Raw, and I don't know, Pryor wasn't like a big act out comic. Neither was Patrice O'Neal, but I love Patrice O'Neal.
Yeah, Patrice is tight.
I love to be able to come up with like a sharp, like when you hear it, not only do you laugh at the punchline, but it's like, damn, how did he think of that? It's so clever. It's so artistic. Like, that's what I've always liked to do when I wrote stories. Like I say, in college, I wrote jokes. Then finally this past year, and it's funny, like, I know Kill Tony is a big thing in comedy, but I've watched Tony, Rogan, a lot of these guys since 2012, 13 is when I really got into them. And I remember when Kill Tony first started in 2013, and I actually went and saw it in 2000.
Yeah, that's when it got started? Okay, damn. Okay.
I saw it in 2014 at the Comedy Store when there was only like 17 of us in the room. So I was there in one of the earliest episodes.
Okay, shit.
And I've been a fan of it for a while. During COVID, I didn't watch it as much, and I didn't really watch comedy in general. But the past, 2 years, I started picking it back up, and then it finally got allowed back on YouTube. I didn't have Spotify, so it got back on YouTube, and I started watching it, and then I noticed his guests got bigger. I think it's because he got back on YouTube. I remember there was an episode, I think maybe it's been about 8-9 months. But anyway, he had an episode where he had Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson on.
Yeah, that's rather recently,
I think it was earlier this year sometime, and then that's when I really got back into it. And then I went to Madison Square Garden to his show 2 months ago in New York.
Oh damn, you went? Yeah, you went to that. Okay,
I went to that, and it was cool.
Now, did you try to get in the list?
I did. I signed up.
Oh, you did.
I signed up. Didn't make it.
Do you know how many people were signed up?
Dude, the line was all around Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, and for people that wanted to sign,
I was early, and I still was pretty deep. When we went into the room, they took our ID, and then they have us sign a waiver. Then you sign up, and then I saw the little strips. It was funny because they must cut them out one by one before they put him in the bucket that he pulls out of. And I thought it was just so funny because it was all in a strip, one thing where everyone's name was down. And then because I was in the audience, and what's really cool about this show and the format is that if you didn't pay for a ticket, they put you in the theater out back, and they let you be there. If you got pulled, they'd come get you. But I was in the audience, so I put my row section where I was sitting, and I was just like, man, I hope I get up. And now that I think about it, because this is 2 months ago, and this is only when I was in month 3, I'm so glad I did. Holy shit, I probably would have eaten shit in front of 26,000 people in the most famous arena in the world, and I'm so glad. Because even if I didn't eat shit, even if I did well, I wouldn't be ready for that level of exposure yet.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's I was like, dude, what was I even thinking? I should have just went, watched it. How dare me be such a cocky bastard thinking I can go up there and do well. Now it's I want to just stay in my lane and really take the time and appreciate this craft. So this past year, it was 5 months ago, I signed up for a class. Shout out to Drew Absher and Comedy Spot, Sacramento. But I signed up for his class actually in June. And I was like, can I do this? Because you're right, I'm very business oriented. I do run successful stores. for the company I work for. I won't name it, but it's a retail company.
Yeah.
And big company. But, I do really good work for them, and I'm proud of the work I do. But, I was like, there's got to be something more to life, man. Like, I think of life, like, most of us live until we're 80.
Yeah.
80s. So that means you can count your entire lifetime in about 1 minute and 20 seconds. Which is nothing.
Yeah, looking at it.
It's nothing. So my thing is like, I'm like, I need to do something more. I like art. I like stand-up. I like film. I like music a lot. What is my thing? What can I do? And ultimately, I started sitting down and writing jokes. I was sharing them with friends, sharing them with my girlfriend, sharing them with family, coworkers, and they're like, dude, you need to get on stage. So I did this class, and I got humbled very quickly because it was like just in a room. Comedy Spot has you sit in a room, and you find out how funny or unfunny you are quickly. Now the good thing is I did get a couple of them to laugh at certain moments of my 5 minutes I did, but most of it was dead silence. I was fucking awful, and I still am sometimes. I'm still very new to this. So, that being said though, it finally drove me, and now ever since I keep going back, and I've gotten on good runs of like a few weeks where I have great sets. During, honestly, the week before the election, and I think it was it was just before the election. Since the election happened, I've actually been having some good sets. And that's because I cut out my intro we were talking about earlier.
Gotcha.
So we'll see when that comes back. But anyway, before the election, I was just bombing my ass off, dude. I was having rough sets every fucking night. And the thing is, it probably was a lot of my intro and people in the crowd going, oh no, fuck this guy, he's a conservative. We're not going to laugh at a single joke.
Yeah, I was just saying with that, you're at least grabbing attention a lot to where it's like, all right, show me something now. One or the other.
And I did write, and I was going through a hard time. So I think and maybe it was Halloween, I was really trying to write as dark of jokes as I could think of.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that wasn't funny. We're gonna go back to square one here. So but this past week after the election, honestly, I mean, I've been doing well. But what drove me into it was a lot of stand up has I think emerged a lot because of Kill Tony. Sacramento's got a great scene.
Yeah, it's got a great one. I like it a lot.
Everybody, and thanks again for cheers, dude, for having me on this. This is fucking awesome.
Hell yeah, thank you. That's a good conversation for sure.
But no, Sacramento is a supportive environment. It hasn't always, and it won't be. Comedy's not always easy. You definitely got to have some thick skin.
Oh, for sure.
You got to have
any kind of art, definitely.
100%. But stand-up is so cool because it's like I was saying earlier about the writing process. It's like that puzzle of just maybe you took out a couple of words, or maybe your punchline was in your premise, and now you need to switch it and have that be your punchline, and then explain the thing before you get to it.
Yeah.
Like, I love that puzzle of writing and performing. So I keep coming back to it, but I was driven by a lot of different things, really my life, and just like this understanding of like, dude, like that first good set I had at Comedy Spot, this was maybe 2-3 months ago, I told 22 jokes.
Damn,
and
okay.
they all got laughs in 5 minutes.
Oh,
and I
shit,
still have that set, and I still listen to it, and I still use a lot of those jokes to mix in when I'm writing new ones, because I know that 5 minutes is good. I know I have a 5 minutes that works. It's 22 jokes, they all got laughs. That was the best set I've had. I haven't had that since, because I've been trying to write new stuff.
Right.
I want to go from 5 to 10, 10 to 15, and try to keep getting better.
Yeah, well, still definitely keep on working on like that 5 minutes that you got, because like a lot of times some people be like, oh hell, that's a great 5 minutes, and just keep that. Definitely, but I mean, again, like since you have it, like definitely keep writing. But keep on doing that 5 minutes and see what like happens. Because sometimes, like again, you'll do something that it'll work a bunch of times. It's like, well, why the hell did it not work tonight? Even if you did everything correctly, sometimes you still have those. And then it's like,
That's what I found out before the election. I used to get laughs just when I walk out and say your favorite motherfucking California Republican has arrived.
Yeah.
And people go, oh, whoa, this guy, okay, let's see what he's got. But after the energy became very serious, whoever was coming to these mics, and I would get this disdain look of like, no, fuck you. Like, and they just wrote me off. So the jokes, and you're right, the jokes that worked in shows and other rooms I've done, I'm like, I know this joke works. It's always got laughs until that week before the election. What the hell happened? It was my intro. Because now since I haven't been using that intro, I'm getting laughs again.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. It's like, and I started to challenge myself to like, okay, maybe I don't want to like make that my shtick anymore. Because, like, again, I don't like to be divisive. I might be a conservative guy, you know, not with everything. You know, I have liberal viewpoints, too. You know, I grew up in fucking California. It's going to be hard to not have liberal viewpoints.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? It's like, dude, what are you doing? Anyway, so I don't want to divide anybody, man. You know, and this is back to what I was talking about earlier, the things with my dad, just how I am. You know, it's like, I don't like division or negativity. Obviously, like things like violence, like I hate all that shit, man. I like to be peaceful with everybody, you know, and that's my whole thing with comedy is like you make people laugh, you bring them joy.
Yeah.
Even if it's about fucked up stuff. You know? I mean,
You're right.
We can still laugh at it if you deliver and write a good joke about it, that is. But
Yeah.
no, man, I'm all about just peace, man. I like peace, big time.
Nah, that's good, dude. Peace is a good thing for sure.
I think so. You're peaceful.
Right.
Maui. Aren't you? Yeah, you're a good dog.
Nah, like I said, she's cool as hell. I'm surprised. Sometimes she'll chill out and sometimes she'll go away, but I was like, hell yeah. But no, it's like you said, it's good to be peaceful. Me, with like some of my comedy, I don't know if it's because I come from the East Coast or anything like that.
Okay.
But it's like, I feel like some of it, like I'll have like aggressive elements to it, but it's like, but it's in a funny way. But that's just kind of where I come from. And I never really grew up in like an aggressive like family or anything like that. No, because like I said, I'm from West Virginia originally, and it's like, so I grew up around guns. No one in my family was like a gun nut, but I had like friends and stuff like that like their parents. So I was like, oh hell yeah, dude, I love guns. I love shooting shit.
Oh yeah.
I love hunting and doing all that. I've never been one that I'm like, I can't, like, I've never been one of those I want to go out of my way and like fight people. I'm always like, if something aggressive is going on, it's like I'm not one of those that's like gonna shy away from a fight. It's like, fuck, we have to. It's like, all right, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like my thing. But in West Virginia, like it's not uncommon to see like people get in a fight, like, what? My fucking 4 beat your shit, you know? And I'm like, like over shit like that, over something dumb.
You still
like,
like Copenhagen?
Yeah, really. It's like, he said skull's better. But no, like there's a couple like bars and shit. That so it's like again like where I've grown up, it's like not uncommon for me to see like violence, but I've never like been for the like I don't like violence for the sake of violence. I'm like, really, like people are like talking shit and you're really getting like that offended about, like I'm usually always kind of like that person, like really you're upset about that, but like to me if like but violence like happens that it's like necessary, then it's like all right, cool. But for the fact if we were at a bar and someone's gonna walk up and say, hey man, I see that guy over there, he said you a sissy boy, you drive a Ford. Cause people will do that in some of the bars over there.
Yeah, they get drunk.
Like, yeah, it would not be uncommon for someone not even know somebody, just walk up to a stranger and be like, so-and-so said you're a pussy, or talk bad about your truck. Really? Fuck. It's like, damn, I don't get violence for the sake of fighting for nothing. Like, I don't get that kind of violence. We're going to fight for nothing.
Just weird.
Yeah, you talk bad about my truck? Okay.
It's like, sorry, dude. Fuck.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go trade it in.
Right?
No, I mean I like peace through strength. I mean I am a big gun guy. I mean I own guns and but yeah, I mean you know the thing is like we were talking about like my father, like he was involved, very violent lifestyle. That's the mafia. And it's never a life that I was interested in. Not that I had the opportunity. I mean, thank God I'm in the West Coast, not in the East Coast. And I'm also not 100% Italian, so there we go. I can't be a made man.
Well, from what I've like heard about the mob now is like you don't have to be 100% Italian because so many people. It's like the way the cultures are mixed. It's not like the early.
No.
Like, it's not like the 60s and everything where, like, I think those are, like, the last years of them doing that.
You gotta be in Italy to even be like that. I mean, I don't know anybody who's still, like, I mean, I had some family members, again, mainly by marriage, not even by blood, but...
Yeah.
Because my mother's side is more, they're Native American and Irish.
Okay.
And then it's my dad who they're, like, full-on Italian. So,
and most of his side of the family is still on the East Coast, you said?
Yeah, they're in New York. Okay. A lot of them are in Brooklyn. Some of them actually made themselves. I somehow had a relation to, I don't know if you heard of him, but San Francisco's mob was ran by Jimmy the Hat Lanza, James Lanza.
I think I've heard of because like I
got
said,
a
I've looked
relation
up
to him somehow.
Somehow, okay.
Yeah, and I don't know how, but his mob, it was exactly what you would think about a San Francisco mafia. It was like, he's like, yeah, he's pushing drugs, but it's like in boxes of wine and olive oil.
Oh shit!
It's like more upscale. He's not like bumping people off or anything. It's like it wasn't very violent. It was more just like hookers and drugs. But he ran a lot of legit businesses out of San Francisco. And Jimmy the Hat Lanza, check him out. I mean, it's a pretty cool mob story. There's not a lot of information about him because he kept it hidden.
He was like a real Cosa Nostra. He's like, we don't need to talk about this.
He was like, he came from New York, moved to San Francisco. He did everything the right way. He did go to that, what was that big meeting called they had?
They called it, I think it was just called Appalachia.
He did go to that.
Somewhere, because it was like, upstate New York somewhere?
Yes, he did go to that meeting.
Oh,
and
shit.
They chased his ass through the forest. He
damn.
got out somehow. Because he died in 2006 in San Mateo.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but he went to that meeting. That was like the big last, I think, they probably have met since then, but that was like the big last, like all families got together to meet.
Yeah, because every mafioso talks about that. Because I guess because at the time no one was thinking we'll just all get together, discuss business and have a vacation and everything, and then the cops hang on a second. They're like, hang on a second, and then once they found out they put it together, it's like, bro, we can't all meet together. That's
we could nail all of you at the same time and hit you with the RICO, because you guys were dumb enough to go meet in the same fucking place. Right? Yeah. I don't think so. It's like, come on, man.
It's crazy that he was there. Now I know, because I'm missing his last name, but I think it was Mickey something or other, Mickey Cohen or whatever was down in Los Angeles. Because like I said, I was researching some before this podcast, and I've listened to it before, but it was you have the 5 families in New York that everyone's kind of familiar, and that came about at the 20s into the early 40s or something that.
Yeah. Before the Great Depression for sure.
Yeah, but I was gonna say Cosa Nostra and all that's interesting because there's connections to New Orleans. There was a lot of Italian connection there for a minute. Then New York was big. But then it was after the 40s and everything, it spread out to where they ended up in the West Coast and like you said, Casino and Kansas City.
Kansas City, they were big
and all that.
I mean, they're really everywhere. They even got somewhat big in LA during Jimmy the Hat Lanza's time, and then those families started battling each other. And he made it very clear, you deal with your shit in SoCal. The Bay Area is mine, bitch. He was they made it very clear. There's stuff, folks could research on that too. But again, the stuff in California gets swept under the rug big time. That's why my dad flew under the radar. You can't find anything about my dad, Salvatore Francese, because one, again, he was really by marriage related to Michael, him and his brother John, who's a junior. They were obviously they're relatives, but my dad was more just brought into the Gambino crime family. He was made, and then I never got a chance to know him. I don't want to offend anybody. I did meet him one time.
Gotcha.
I met him one time, and this guy, man, he was a scary dude. He was a tall guy. He doesn't look anything like me, right? He's handsome, tall, dark hair. Not me. He was wearing a suit. This was in Anaheim, California, Magic Mountain. I think it was in 1996. I was 6 years old. And I'll never forget when I first met him what he said. He was there with his other kids, and it was weird because my mom was more close with his girlfriend than she even wanted to be around him. But she's like, look, I want you to meet your dad at least once.
They're not together at this time at all, right? Okay, they were just
she's like, you're gonna meet him once. It's at a freaking amusement park where I can see what he's doing, And she's like, fine. You want to meet your dad? Here we go. So we went to Magic Mountain. And, we go, and I meet my half-brothers and sisters. It was cool. I meet him. He barely says a word to me. But he was a big, scary guy. He's wearing a suit. I don't really look like him. I look more like my mom, which I guess is what gave me feminine energy. Anyway. But, I'll never forget what he said when I first saw him. He had that big ass like Nokia phone with the antenna.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He puts it away. He puts it in his jacket. He looks up, and again, my folks in the LGBTQ community, I don't condone this. I'm just quoting what he said.
Let me make a clarification.
Yeah, let me make this clear. These are not. These are the words of a man who got murdered, a fucking criminal, a guy that abandoned me, and well, I guess it was forced, but he was not my father growing up. So I don't condone what he said, but it's a little funny. It's a little funny just because of how he said it. I'll explain it to you. So we're out front, and out front of Magic Mountain. It's Six Flags, right? Yeah. So he's on his phone. He just kind of looks up at the entrance. He puts the antenna, he puts it in his jacket. He looks up and he looks down at me. He goes, Six Flags, huh? He goes, more like 6 half of fags. And I was just like, oh, what? And, oh, man. And since then, I had really no interaction with him.
Really?
None. I mean, I was hanging out with my stepdad more at the time, my mom's boyfriend, and his kids, my half-brothers and sisters. And he was just kind of off on his own, drinking a beer. He would be on his phone.
Oh, you're saying a little more
at the time,
business.
This is pagers, so he was on his pager. He was going and using their payphone. I mean, the guy was like just everywhere.
But
he was
doing
never
business?
around. Doing business. But he had nothing to do with this. He said that's the only thing he said to me is when he looked up and insulted the Six Flags with that word that I'm not going to repeat, and I don't condone. I don't use that word myself.
See, that's interesting. Like, that's the difference, I think, because, like, being from the East Coast, like, yeah, we, like, drop that, like, all the time, and it's, like...
As kids, we did, too. We called each other that. And, I understand why it's such a word that no one wants to hear. And
I won't go around insulting people, like, with it, but I get it. I mean, if there's, like, a bunch of dudes hanging out, it's like, I get where it's, like, coming from. Like,
except for when my grandma calls, I'm like, hey, faggot. No, I don't do that. No, Grandma, I love you. I don't do that. I don't condone that word either. That was just my dad.
Yeah.
Just being a piece of shit.
No, I get it, but that's such an East Coast and seemed like an Italian thing.
It is, yeah.
Too. And he was living, like, New Jersey, New York City, one of those?
At this point, yeah, he was out in, he was in New York at this point, and he was in the West Coast. I don't know, probably murdering somebody, who knows, but he was in the West Coast at the time, and he reached out to my mom, and he was like, look, I want to meet him. I want him to meet me once. And I remember hearing her on the phone, no, you fucking piece of shit. Like, just like, no. Okay, well, if he's going to meet you, it's going to be on my terms. It's going to be in public at an amusement park. And I was
an amusement park.
And I looked at her and I said, and I'm not a big Disney guy, mind you, but I was like, you cheap bastards, you couldn't do Disneyland? You had to do Magic Mountain? God. But anyway, yeah, that was the only time I ever met him. Big, scary dude. He definitely looked the part.
And had your mom told you at that point, hey, this is like who he's involved with?
No, she didn't explain it.
It was just like, hey, this is your dad, blah, blah, blah.
She did say he's a piece of shit. She did say that. She explained that much. She was like,
gotcha.
We're going to meet your dad at Magic Mountain. By the way, he's a piece of shit. Oh yeah, you're 6 years old. Okay. So.
And then, so how long after that would you say you got in touch with him where he wasn't regularly in your life, but you kind of you talked a little bit after that though, right? At some point?
No, I mean, I remember the last time I talked to him, he sent me like a video game on PlayStation. Which one was it? It was something stupid, dude. It was some game. I was like, I don't even play this fucking game. But anyway, he sent me this game. It wasn't Mafia. That came out in PS2. Maybe it was even PS3. I think it was PS2. It wasn't Mafia. That would have been fucking funny if I was older and he was like, hey, I got you a game and it's Mafia.
Right. Yeah, for real.
He's like, this shit's fake, but whatever. It's a fun game. Enjoy it.
It's fake.
That's funny. I never thought of that. That's pretty fucking funny. Anyway, no, he sent me some game on PlayStation, and then he called me up, or he called my mom's phone at the time. And this is when I lived in the valley in Visalia, where I grew up, Visalia, California.
Okay.
It's a place filled with cows and disappointment. Not anymore. I shouldn't say that. People are gonna say, "Fuck you! It's all about 559, bitch." No, whatever. I mean, it's whatever. And my grandmother's still there, actually. But no, that's where I grew up. So he called her phone, and he was just like, "Hey, I want to talk to your mom." what do you think about, what if you came and lived with me for 6 months in New York? And the funny thing, this is before speakerphone. So she's in the back room going, did he fucking ask you if you want to live with him? Let me talk to him. And then I'm like, Dad, or no, whatever, I don't even know what to call you. I was like, probably not a good idea, here's Mom. And then she just like starts cussing him up and down.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I only talked to him on the phone once, met him one time. And what's messed up is I didn't even know his last name. Didn't know he was in the mafia until I was maybe 19 or 20.
Okay, damn.
It was finally, like I said, his mom reached out to me and she moved to Chico, of all places. He moved from Italy to fucking Chico?
Right.
What are you doing, bitch?
To Chico at least. I can understand like Napa, because I've heard like people from Europe.
Somewhere nice.
Yeah.
Nothing against Chico, you fucking alcoholics. But anyway.
Chico's an interesting place here in
college
California.
place, and it's just a party place. I guess Aaron Rodgers is from there.
Yeah, I've
Maybe
heard that. We'll talk
him.
about Chico a little bit more as we get into this shit. Because there's something I want to bring up, but I don't want to lose like where we're at and all that. But that is interesting. So she's from. So you said like, and this is your dad's mom. And all that. Now, is it like she? Michael Francese's mom as well, or
no? So this would be
because I know you said your dad was related by marriage, but I'm also trying to like hang on.
So Denise married Michael Francese's brother John.
Yeah,
my father's related to her.
Okay.
Yeah, so their family, and it's like. I don't know, again, I don't know where the last name change happened, because it's not technically supposed to be his last name. I don't know what his last name is supposed to be, to be honest with you. I have no idea. No idea. That's what happened. So he changed his name a couple of times to stay hidden.
Okay.
He hid it from my mother, because I think he was going by Carter. And it's like, dude, you're not, like... You're obviously Italian. That sounds wrong for Italian. So my mom already had questions. At least I hope she did. But no, he changed his last name a couple of different times and somehow went with this family name of Francese, but it wasn't his last name. I don't remember his last name, honestly. I knew it at one point. It's another Italian name. But he ended up changing his name again to stay under the radar because he was like a soldier with the Gambino family. I mean, I don't know that he killed anybody. I don't know what he did, but I knew he did some bad shit because he got himself killed. He got himself murdered. What has it been now? 5 years. So obviously he was mixed in with some stuff deep, and there's a big enough reason for my mom to be like, I never want you to be around this man ever. Yeah. So that's a big deal enough already. At least I take it to be. So, connecting the dots, he's more related to Michael's brother's wife.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where the connection comes from. He's from my dad apparently was also from Italy, but brought up in New York. He's from Florence, and
born in Italy.
Yeah,
okay.
But he moved to New York. Yeah. Then when he decided as a teenager, shit, I should not be doing this. I want to settle down, meet a lady, met my mom. He moved himself to Medford, Oregon, of all places, and he tried to get out of it.
I mean, that's a good spot to lay low, Medford. I mean, I wouldn't think of anywhere else to really look.
Yeah, that's why I had questions about my grandma. I was like, "Are you trying to lay low too? Are you in this?" No, she's not. She detested him. Was like, "I'm sorry about your father," But I lost contact. I don't know what she's up to. I have no idea if she's even still alive. But yeah, man. I mean, it's broken family. It's too bad, but shit happens.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, man. It sucks that it got like that, but I mean, it almost is kind of like in some of the things that you see. That's kind of how some of the mafia things go. Is like they'll have like a scattered kind of broken family in a way.
Big time. It's known to be the thing, mostly in the East Coast.
Yeah.
Them being shitty fathers.
Now, like again, like I know you said you didn't realize until you're about like 19 or 20 that he was in the mob or anything, but were you ever, and I know you said you're not like into violence or anything, but were you ever into like watching like mob movies, like The Godfather, anything like that? Or like?
For sure. When I was really young, it's funny, the first mafia movie I saw was with my grandmother on my mom's mom. She was really into that stuff, which I found ironical because she knew about my dad. So it's like, I don't know if she was being vindictive, going, I'm gonna watch fucking mafia movies. And, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna find out what really he's up to. It's like, you're not gonna find out.
Let me do an investigation.
Let me find the fuck out what the hell this guy's up to. No, it's like you're watching fiction. But anyway, so the first mob movie I saw was the TV movie called The Last Dawn.
Okay.
And I think there's a part 1, 2, and 3. And then I saw Goodfellas young. I saw that first. And I didn't see Godfather Part 1, and that thing we were doing in the beginning, it was just funny as hell. But the iconic opening part of Part 1, when the guy's asking him to give his daughter justice.
Yeah.
And he was like, you didn't even think to call me Godfather. He's like shitting on him, like, dude, you're going to come around here and ask me to do murder, but you're going to do it on my daughter's wedding day?
Yeah.
Like, and I first saw it when I was 12, which you don't appreciate a movie like that when you're that young. You're just kind of looking for the Tommy guns and the violence.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not that movie. It's a slow burner. I mean, there's some of it, especially when Sonny gets killed.
I remember when I saw that at, like, I think I was like 15 or 16 though,
Yeah.
so that's a little bit older than that, but you're still young. But yeah, I remember I really loved the fuck out of that movie. I still watch
So
it, but to comment on that, yeah, there's like so many opportunities in hindsight now. If they made a movie, they probably like they would show the war that actually went down. In the movie, they don't show the war between. There's nothing like about the Tattaglia.
They show when they made peace.
Yeah.
The only thing they killed Sonny.
Yeah, the only thing you see is like when they kill Sonny.
The end is badass.
And then like
Michael says, "Fuck all of them. I'm
that's
every one of you."
Yeah.
And sending a fucking message like that.
Yeah.
That is like one of the most badass endings to a movie I've ever seen. Is Godfather Part 1. And while he's doing
like the whole baptism,
while he's getting his baby baptized, he's got all these guys going around shooting up the places. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, all the bosses are being murdered and
all
everything.
All of them one by one, like, oh yeah, my father made peace, but guess what, bitch? Watch this. And then he has all his guys go and hit them one by one.
Yeah.
Badass movie. Michael Al Pacino is phenomenal. I love Part 2 even more, just because the backstory.
Yeah, it's the backstory is really good. They did great on that.
Such a good movie. But to be honest with you, I first saw Last Dawn, saw Goodfellas, which I love, saw Casino, which is a fucked up movie. It's so dark. And then I did see Godfather when I was about 12, Part 2, Part 3, which I'm not a big fan of. I mean, it's okay, but it's not Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah, I never saw that one. Like, anytime I hear a movie's bad, and if I see enough clips of it that's like, I don't want to see it, then it's like, I like, the movie ends for me here. The story ends. Yeah.
Religiously, with my mom and my stepfather, we all watched Sopranos as a family.
Yeah.
And I love The Sopranos.
And your mom liked watching that too?
She did.
Actually? Holy shit.
I don't know anybody who can't enjoy The Sopranos.
No, I get you. Just her whole backstory.
And it's very violent, and I'd be like, oh man. But like, I loved the show.
It was a good show, yeah.
It's really, I think it's what HBO did before, like, you got into like The Wire. Obviously Game of Thrones until the last 2 fucking seasons. Holy hell. Oh my god, they ruined that show for me.
I never watched that one.
Oh, dude, I love Game of Thrones, and some people might hate on this, but fuck season 7 and season 8. If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, watch season 1 through 6 and say, boom, great show.
See, I've heard that though. People that watch like the last season or whatever,
dude, it's horrible. It's horrible. I hate it. And I haven't seen the new, I don't even remember what it's called, Game of something.
It's supposed to be the prequel. I've seen it, but it's like, it's
not called Game of Good Endings. No.
It's not called, right?
Yeah.
But I read the first book to Game of Thrones and all that. I just never read like the other ones to it. I remember seeing like some of the thing, but it was one of those that I could get into, but I just never got into it. I probably was too busy doing something else or reading something else at the time to like allow for whatever.
There's a way you gotta watch it. So I watched season 1 and said, what the hell is the hype about? Then I rewatched it and I said, okay, in my mind, let's pretend these people are all freaking legends. Let's pretend like they're all like these crazy, like they're gonna matter later on. Then when you watch it with that lens and you see season 2, you see season 3, which is really fucked up. There's something called the Red Wedding. Everybody will know what I'm talking about. But when you see those moments happen and you reflect on all the characters that get, frankly, that's a big warning, and it's not a big spoiler alert, but just don't get committed to a character.
Yeah, no, it's like...
Dude, they will hype up this person to be like, oh my god, they're a man. Then all of a sudden they get their head fucking cut off, like the next episode. It's crazy.
I think that's great on their writing though, because I'm like, this is set in medieval times.
Writing
man.
was
like,
badass.
even if it's a fictional medieval times, it's still set during there, man. Someone's getting. If you get cut with a blade, you could go down tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I think they did
dude,
well.
They fucked up every character somehow. And yeah, great show. Sopranos, I think really like introduced that way of telling a story where it's like each episode's an hour plus long. You know, and Sopranos ran for many seasons, man. They had a,
oh hell
had
yeah,
a
dude!
great
I'm
run.
watching it again like now, and it's like I forget. Because the first season of The Sopranos is like, holy shit, I forget all this happens in the first season.
Oh,
like,
shit. Yeah, dude. Like, I forgot. I went on that, and then I went on a couple. I do tangents a lot, too, man.
Oh, yeah.
I do. It just happens. But with Sopranos, I was talking about my uncle earlier, Sonny, and he's connected. He's the most connected I have to the family.
And that's on your dad's side, right?
Yeah, and he told me, he goes, dude, he goes, I love Sopranos. He goes, they got it nailed on, but he goes, I'm going to tell you something. There's two things. I have a fucking problem with the show. And I go, what? He goes, you're never going to see a mob boss. Number one, he's never going to wear fucking shorts.
I've heard that one. Like,
And
they
the
got
second
complaints
thing-
about
The
that.
second thing, he goes, dude, if anybody that was made found out he was going to see a fucking therapist, he would have been whacked that day. He would have been whacked at the appointment.
But who was the famous, like, mob boss who did actually go to a therapist? I think that inspired, like, part of Tony. Because there was someone that
was it
went to
Lucky Luciano?
No, this was, like, a little bit after that. I think it was, like, one of those, like, crew. It wasn't Costello or anyone, I don't think.
Because they had to have based Tony off something with
Well,
that.
Tony was based off a couple, but there was some, like, old school mob boss, either in, like, the 60s, 70s.
And he would go to a therapist. Right?
Yeah, he was, like, at some point that they found out he was, but it was like whatever, because he had, like, whatever, I guess, information he dropped was like nothing that could get tied to. But like, there was some mob boss that was going to a therapist at one point.
Yeah,
and then
I mean, honestly, I'm sure a lot of those guys tried to go to therapists and they probably got whacked for it.
yeah.
It is what it is. But yeah, that's the two gripes he had was like, he ain't ever gonna wear shorts. And he's certainly not going to see a fucking therapist.
Yeah, no, I've heard the one about the shorts. I'm sure I've heard some about the therapist, because, like, yeah, I know some, especially, like, the old school Italians.
Oh, dude,
like, the New York, yeah, like, no, there was, like, such, like, a code of, like, honor among men or whatever, and it's like, nah, we don't do that, we don't do that.
Yeah, they don't do it. But, you know, a lot of people don't know this, that the mob actually got in New York, and I don't remember the name of it, but it's part of the family my dad was in, I believe it was, Lucky Luciano era. They actually helped get a gay bar opened in New York.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. You can research it, but there is a you know what, I gotta find this because
I was saying, I know the mob ran a bunch of gay bars and stuff.
they ran them. I mean, money's money to them, but
yeah,
they actually helped open one. I remember opened by Mafia. There is one.
Like it was like the gay people were protesting to get like a I don't know.
It was the Genovese family. It was Stonewall Inn in Greenwich Village, 1969. Tony Lauria, member of the Genovese, he helped renovate it and reopened it as a gay bar.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, it's funny because like the stigmas that they have, like, you know, like, oh, we're not fucking we're not gonna see a therapist, you're not gonna be gay or whatever. Like a lot of these guys, you think of them as being macho. They're not all that macho, as it turns out. Like,
right.
A lot of them are not.
Well, like I say, I've always known it like that they would operate their own gay bars. That was never considered like any kind of.
To them, they just saw it as money.
Yeah.
It's just like the strip clubs, you know. It's like, it's whatever to them. It's like, okay, cool. Is it gonna make me money? Then cool. Then run it. I don't give a shit.
Except the drugs, they're always against narcotics, though. Remember that. That makes sense though, because you could get like the worst shit though from like the narcotics and everything.
Well, and I think a lot of that might have been racism too, because they knew they had to deal with people they didn't want to deal with, because a lot of them were racist against people of color.
Well, no, yeah.
So I'm sure they're like,
too.
oh, we don't want to deal with people from Cuba or from wherever drugs might come from, Mexico. They probably don't want to deal with them. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of older Italian folks can be very racist.
Yeah.
Which is like, man, gosh, you people, man, you guys are already animals as it is. You gotta be racist too. Jesus Christ.
Right? No, like which like goes back like wild too. It's like how they could be, because it's like, damn, you're like that close to Africa. Anyway, you're gonna be, because like I said, like, I mean, I know like that they had like some, which is weird. Is like even if there was money involved, they cared more about the money. It's like, this
money.
person, they different skin color. He's trying to think of like what the like a fruity word is like that they would use like in Italian or whatever.
Half a fag.
Half a fag, but I'm trying to think of like a different, because I know like they say like moulignon for like.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think of like what, I don't know. But like they'd be like, he might be like a fairy or a moulignon. But it's like,
Fairy is a big one.
Yeah, I know
that's what they call what's his name, the character that was actually gay in Sopranos.
Yeah.
I can't remember it was Vince. I can't remember his name, but dude ended up being gay, and he was trying to hide it from everybody.
Yeah, but they call him like fairy or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's like but they would call that. But it's like they might be whatever. But it's like they got the money, so whatever. We'll deal with them one way or another.
If you were making them money, man, they would say whatever.
Yeah. They still talk shit, but the deal would still go down.
Yeah, this deal would still go down. They're like, okay, is it gonna make me some fucking money? Cool, then let's do it. I'll sign whatever you need me to sign. And then it's like Paulie and Goodfellas. It becomes a fuck you, pay me kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like whatever. Like what you want us to get involved. We're here now. Like give me that. Otherwise you're gonna get like you thought they were a problem. I'll show you what a real problem is.
I'll show you. I'll burn the shit like Joe Pesci and Ray Liotta did to that club. That iconic scene with Pesci. He's like, what am I, a fucking clown? I'm here to amuse you. Funny how. That whole scene is just great. But they burned that fucking joint down because the guy asked to be a partner and he couldn't pay the bills. And he didn't know that they were ripping him off the whole time.
Yeah. At the
so
end.
So he signed the bank thing. Then, Paulie sends him in there to burn the joint down.
Yeah, to collect the insurance or whatever.
Yeah.
Since they...
So they just fucked him. They were willing in appliances. He's like... And even Ray Liotta's character was like, so what? It's all for profit anyway. Who cares? They were animals, man. They were animals. And it was funny because, I think we were talking about genetics earlier. I have some of that in me genetically, because I used to work for a retail company. I won't name who. But, we sold appliances. And I had this guy in my back pocket. And they'd always hit my store with these open box appliances, which just fucking scratched up, dented shit that people didn't want. So I found this guy, and he'd bring his box truck and he'd buy them from me, and after we'd help load them up, he'd stuff like a couple $100 in my pocket, and I would go and buy lunch with it for my employees. And I remember I was out back, and my girlfriend at the time was watching me. We were loading up the appliances. He sees him come around off camera around the truck, because I could have gotten in trouble for this. He comes around and he goes, "Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate you." And he puts the money. He was a Middle Eastern guy. He's a nice guy, sweet guy. And he puts the money in my pocket. And I go with her, and I'm like, "All right, let's go out and get some dinner." She goes, "You're a fucking animal." She goes, "You're just like your goddamn people." She's like, "That was so that was mafia what you just did right there." And I'm like, "Not really. It's kind of lame. I'm just working for a retail company, ditching out these shit appliances. Like it's not a big deal." She's like, "Yeah, but just the way you found out a connection and you did all that." I'm like, I didn't think of it that way, but all right, fair enough.
Right. No, it's funny when you mention something like that, because all the stuff you see in mafia movies is like, bro, the company down the street with a bunch of nobodies is doing the same thing.
Yeah, they're doing the same. They're animals, man.
It's just not as romantic to watch a movie. It's like, what are we gonna do? Fuck it, we got this. Let's sell it out there.
Yeah, let's sell it. And let's make some money on the side from it. And it's like it. Yeah, it's not like a big thing like drugs or women or something crazy like you watch maybe in Casino where they're ripping off a casino out of a vault, something really big scale. Yeah. It's just little petty shit that they do that stacks up.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing I love about doing stand-up comedy too. Is to me that feels like the most out of all the art stuff you can do. To me, it feels like the most gangster mafia related.
I was gonna say it is gangster.
It feels like, especially whenever if you call a place to do an open mic or do a show, it always feels like a mafia scam to me. Or that scene out of Silverado, and I'll do both of them because I'm always calling a place to where it's hey, you care if we do an open mic? It's to me it's the same thing as calling hey, do you care if we run a business out of the side of your place and while we do this during this time we make this amount of money and blah blah blah. And when it's but to put it in the cowboy way, it reminds me of that scene in Silverado. Totally. To where do you know? Have you seen that movie? It's the one where
it's been a long time.
But Jeff Goldblum, he shows up to the bar after a fight or something happens. He's like, Hi, I just like to say I'm a gambler who would like to run an honest game. It's the same thing doing stand-up. It is the same
It's
thing.
so
Hi,
true.
I'm a gambler. I'm a so-and-so. I just want to run a business
And it's
in your
sketchy.
establishment.
It's so
for this
sketchy.
amount of time.
You know, I've gone to an open mic. This was maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and it was in Oakland. This guy hits me up on Instagram. It was in Oakland. He goes, "Dude, you're so funny." He's like, "Man, I'm gonna throw a cool show. I have music. I want you to do stand up." Dude, I shit you not. This guy lived in a nice part of Oakland. He lived near the Lake Merritt. Not a bad part of Oakland. That wasn't the part that got
Lake
sketchy.
Merritt, it's like a pond in the city.
So I go up these stairs. I'm like, dude, this is a fucking apartment building. I thought he was having it like at like a venue place. Dude, he was having this show in his fucking bedroom. In his bedroom. He had the windows open. People were smoking weed. There was a bunch of chicks there. Everyone was messed up. And he was like, "Oh yeah, man, our comedian's here." And everyone's there. And I went, "Why did I sign up for this? Why the fuck did I agree to this?" I drove all the way to Oakland from where I live in Placer County. And I get there,
dorm
I'm like,
room party, bro.
it was a dorm room party. He was moving to the East Coast to go to art school or something. I didn't even know this guy. He just hit me up on Instagram. He's a cool guy. He does art. He's a big painter. He's a very talented guy. But he was like, "Yeah, man, come do my show." I get there and it's in his fucking bedroom. And I'm like, "What is this?" I did maybe 10 minutes. I was mostly just talking to a bunch of drunk people, making fun of them. Then I bailed. I'm like, "I'm getting the fuck out of here. This is weird." You know, chicks are like taking their tops off, and
I would have stayed for that, but
I stayed for some of it, but I was just like, dude, this is weird. They're all drunk. They were doing Molly. And I'm not, you know, I don't drink. I don't do drugs or anything. So, you know, my biggest vice is cigarettes and these goddamn Zens. But, you know,
I would say, yeah, that's a party that I would have stayed at. I would have done 20 minutes.
Man.
I would have kept on chatting about nothing.
It was just weird. It was very weird. It was very strange. And I was like, okay, but to your point, that's stand-up, man. It's like all you need really is a speaker and a microphone and somebody who either is funny or thinks they're funny. And
or can just fucking
you gotta
entertain
show.
somehow,
yeah, you got to show. You know, it's like, and you know, shout out to Adam Sterling, you know, Tupi. I don't know if have you done Tupi at the rooftop open mic?
I don't think so. I'm not.
Badass place, dude.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Brazilian coffee shop. It's so dope. Fucking get there. We need people there besides comics. Anyway, no, I love the comics. I mean, I don't care who goes, but you know, it's cool because like he goes there. He has a speaker, and he was getting pissed because like the microphone wasn't working with the speaker. And it's true. You made a good point. It's like, dude, this really is stand up. It is the grind. It's gangster as fuck. All you need really is a microphone, and sometimes you don't even need a microphone.
Yeah, no, I
just need a room. You just
No,
need a room.
those
I
are
did it in
what-
a bedroom.
Those are the moments. If I don't have a microphone or a stand, it's like I'm like, all right, we're doing it like old school Shakespeare style
Acapella,
tonight.
bitch.
Yeah, like that's what they do in like Shakespeare's day. They didn't have a microphone. They were just up there projecting. And like, all right, we're doing it this way. No microphone. You just stand up here chatting with your hands like this and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I've had a fun time doing them like that, to where you have no microphone. It's just like right now I'm actually projecting a little bit more than what I was, but I'm just in that mindset to where it's like if you don't have a microphone, it's like I'll just use the diaphragm or whatever to talk like from that, and then
Just be funny.
yeah,
You know,
exactly. That's one
it.
thing I love about it. But yeah, but like that whole dinginess that goes along with it, that's the fun side of it that I like a lot with comedy, because I'm like, it's different. And music has a little bit of that dingy side of it too.
Absolutely.
Those two of the art forms, but it's like, yeah, you can't get like a whole like theater troupe somewhere necessarily in that whole kind of dinginess of it. It's like it'd fall apart in like 10 minutes, you know?
And that's the cool thing about the art form too, is like it is isolated in the sense that I know there's shows like sketch, there's improv, there's things like that, but with just stand up, like solo, like you go on, it's just you with the mic, your jokes or stories, whatever you got. The cool thing that I like about it is at the end of the day, the funnel, it hits back to you. It's all up to you and the art that you bring to it.
Yeah.
Like that's the cool thing about like stand up to me is just like as an art form, it's up to all of us individually and what we bring and like the collective, like the difference of opinion or the way the angles we come at it with, like whether or not you do impressions or you know, if you do one-liners, stories, or whatever it is, like that's the cool thing about our art form too, is that there's none like it because it is isolated. I mean, you can collab, you could write, which I like doing. I like to write with comics. It's fun.
Yeah.
But, you know, really at the end of the day, no one can go on the stage with you. So that's where it's different from like music, where you're in a band, or even if you have an instrument. And I know there's some comics that do music comedy. And
Yeah.
But, you know, as an art form, it's so like, it's up to you. You got to go up there and deliver the art. And I think that there's something badass about that too. Yeah, it's dope. I love it, man.
No, it really is. Like I said, I like it. Like, my main background was always like acting. I think from acting it became like directing and writing, because then you get like a whole interest. But me, like, I always was a fan of stand-up, but me getting into it was just like, after I was a fan of it, and then like life had gone a little bit crazy for a minute, it's like, bro, I got some stories I gotta tell, and that's when I went on. But what I love, like, also too, is stand-up, because again, like I said, I like acting, and I like with acting you can play different characters, do whatever. But one of my favorite things with stand-up is like, I can go on tonight and perform. I don't have to like wait for whatever. I can do new material, old material, but it's like also like that, I don't have to worry about a show production going on. I can go up on stage tonight and get like that performance, like whatever, even
you're
if it's
the
like
screenwriter, you're the director.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
It's like that's the bad. Yeah, I'm with you on that, bro. Like it is cool. Like, and that's the cool thing about us in Sacramento. And I guess it's like that, you know, and some other. I mean, especially Austin, Texas, right now, it's blowing up.
Yeah.
We were talking about earlier. Kill Tony's a big reason. Joe Rogan's a big reason. But you know, like I went to New York for Kill Tony 2 months ago, and the stand-up scene there, very cool. It's big. Obviously, you know, you never know who's in the crowd watching you, but it's like that in Sac. I mean, we get big people out here, but to your point, it's like, as a community of us comics in Sacramento, you can do almost 4 mics in one night. Like last night, for instance, you could have
and that's the best way to do
Vince's Shenanigans. What was yesterday? Friday. So, but like the night before, you could have done Tupi. Shout out to Miriam. She's got Press Club over in Midtown, which is badass. You could do Stab, which is awesome, and then you could do Mushroom. Like you could do 4 mics in a night. Like that's the cool thing about stand-up too. Is like, all right, I know I have all these open mics. I can go hit 5 minutes at all of them, and I can do it. And I can time it where if I make the list here, or if I'm here, and a lot of them aren't that far away from each other either.
No, that's true. Like that was because when I had started, like I said, a few years ago. Before COVID and all that happened in 2018, 2019 and all that, it was kind of, I feel like now there's still, mics come and then sometimes they break off and then a new one comes up. It seemed like in the 2018, again, that's only like a 2-year period, but they were a little bit more established. There were a few mics that were around, because I remember, kind of like you were saying, you could hit 4 in a day.
Yeah.
If I was off on Tuesday, Wednesday back then, I would hit like 2 or 3 mics in the same day, so I could get, if I wasn't able to go and do a bunch of mics that week, at least in that 2-day period, I was hitting like 4 to 6 of them.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I was still getting like a good amount of time. But I feel like after that now, there's some places that are more common. Like I feel Henry's now has established itself as like, okay, this is like the common spot for an open mic.
Shout out
and whatever.
Henry's.
Yeah, shout out. I think. And I love them.
Bar,
and then Touch of Class
place.
used to be around to
I haven't
do it.
done that yet.
They're
closed.
closed, yeah.
Which sucks.
Which sucked, but like they were one of the big ones that I always loved. They were around forever. But like I said, like now Henry's is kind of, shout out to them again, but it's kind of like, it's one of the newer ones that's kind of like established as like, oh, it's kind of the common spot.
Like, shout out Marcel, Shenanigans. That one's getting there.
That one's starting up. Shenanigans.
He's got a showcase every month, and then mics every Friday until the fourth or fifth. The last Friday of the month is a showcase, but all the other ones before that are open mics. And I'll tell you, man, we had a blast last night. And it's everyone who goes there is always really, really nice.
Oh, okay.
And they love comedy. You know, there's a few people actually that we found that have been coming every week just for this open mic.
Oh, tight.
Which is badass. Like that's cool to get.
No, that's what you want is like people that dig seeing the comedy and fuck it, we'll see these like up and comers.
Yeah, and they're all really supportive. They come up after and go, oh, I love this joke, I love that joke, and it's like, man, this is what it's all about, man. Like that's what comedy does, is it really does bring people together, man. I mean, fuck, I wouldn't even be on this podcast if it wasn't for Vince's in comedy. So
No, 100%.
I appreciate you having me, definitely.
No, thank you again for coming down, bro.
Hell
I
yeah.
appreciate it. I'll do you another salute, even though you're
Salute.
even though you're getting
Oh, I
low.
can refill it. Shit, I got another one right here.
Hell yeah.
No, but yeah, man. I mean, our art form in this scene in Sacramento is it's so cool. It really is. Like, I even have been contemplating moving out to Austin. But you know, I grew up in California, and I love California as much as my politics aren't loved in California.
Right.
But that's okay. I mean, that doesn't matter, man. I still love everybody. You know, whatever their beliefs are. But the cool thing about Sac is like, you just meet so many dope people doing comedy, and like I find like all the comedians are just super awesome people.
Oh no,
we have
they
a
really
lot of
are,
we have a
man.
lot of fucking funny people in this area
Oh, yeah.
too, like really funny people.
No, real quick, I was gonna say, let me change out that battery.
Oh yeah,
But I got the audio still going, so like I say, however I edit it.
Yeah, Don Morello. Oh, that's a main. No, never mind. That's a fucking Giuseppe Morello, I think.
Yeah, Giuseppe was the patriarch.
Yeah, the clutch hand. And he's from Corleone.
Right, I learned on that thing I was listening to, there's a bunch of like mafiosos from Corleone.
Oh yeah.
So I guess whenever Mario Puzo, whenever he wrote
Puzo, Godfather.
yeah, so he must have like known that info too. That's why he used Corleone, since like a lot of mafiosos.
Which is a wild book. The movie definitely surpasses it. That's a rarity, but the book is fucking bananas.
So you're saying you like the
Oh, the movie is so much better.
really? Okay, because I've heard both things about.
The book is just disgusting, dude. It's like, the book is like very racy, and it's like every sex moment in it was like just so over the top. Like even when Sonny was nailing the chick upstairs in the beginning of Godfather Part 1 at the wedding, like the descriptions and like that moment of them fucking wasn't just him up against her on the wall. It was like he went into vivid details about every little thing. And yeah, it was definitely a racy novel. Good novel, but man, like I was surprised it was the source material because it pivots and the movie does different things for sure. The movie's a lot more like, I mean, the movie has got like sex, violence, and all that stuff in it, but it felt more tasteful than the novel did. The novel was just like, when you were reading it, like, oh shit.
Like the whole novel, or just like
those
part
key
of
moments.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
it's different.
I feel like that's most books, though. By the way,
Well,
if you read them, like they'll go into shit more in depth.
Like Stephen
And
King's
like-
It.
Yeah, that's the one I always hear people refer to, and that's the one
The
I haven't
sewer?
read yet. Yeah, I need to know, like where they all bang. Spoiler.
The orgy with the kids.
Yeah.
It was, dude, bananas.
Which, like, when I think about that, like, if I was 16 or whatever reading that, I'd be like, yeah, that one chick that we all hang out with, that we all think is hot. It's like you kind of want that to happen. So it's like
somewhat.
Like I get it. Like people are like,
was,
oh my god.
Yeah,
no,
it was their version of like a pact. And
Yeah.
They
well, I
very
don't know.
wisely kept that out of the movie.
Yeah, well, no, you can't put that in the movie,
No.
and it's gonna translate well. People will be like, huh?
It was just a weird thing. Yeah, I mean, it's a great story, great book. The movies are phenomenal. I mean, I didn't like the old one as much. I like the two new ones by Andy. I can't remember his last name. But
I just recently watched part 2 of the new ones.
Yeah.
Didn't like it that much.
Part
but to be
one's
honest,
good.
part 1's phenomenal. But the thing is, like, the part 1 of both of the It movies is always better than the second part. And I'm like, I wonder why the fuck that is.
Because they're not kids anymore, and the stakes change. But the novel was badass because of copyright reasons.
Only because of copyright.
The movie couldn't have him transfigure into the things he did in the book. Like in the book, he turned into Dracula.
Yeah, well, in the first one, they have him turn into the Wolfman.
Yeah, the Wolfman was a big one
So-
he turned into. Yeah, he turned into a bunch of shit, and the whole idea of Pennywise is brilliant.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. They get that kind
What a
of.
great like idea, very sci-fi idea for a horror villain. and like the fact that he existed throughout many, many years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it always kind of returned to the same area.
Gary.
Yes. No, Stephen King was interesting in how he's like, because he has a bunch of towns that reoccur and some characters that reoccur, and then they traverse like through those towns, and those towns have a backstory. Because even if there's a book that like happens, and I can't remember if Cujo happens in Derry or not, but in some of the short stories, or like a book you might read, they might reference, oh yeah, that lady that got trapped in the car by the dog or whatever. Or this weird thing happened. Because I think Pennywise has appeared in a couple of his short stories as another character. It's just like when you read it, you're like, oh, it's like a shape-shifting kind of manipulative
almost
thing.
Omnipresent.
Yeah. But like also with it, like I was with the book, I was told, because I haven't read it, and this is what has kept me from reading it, is that it's like it's a hard read because it's like whenever you're reading it, it's like not only does it change time, but it'll all of a sudden change perspective.
Big time it will, through each of the kids or each of the
characters. But does he do it in the Stephen King way to where it's like if it's chapter 4 or whatever, he has like those like little dots, or he still has like sections to where it's like 1, 2, 3. Is it like that it changed perspective? Yeah. Or is it like
you'll know?
Todd, okay.
Yeah, you'll know.
Because the way he was describing it sounded like it changed perspective, and it was like, well, wait a second, like when the fuck did I all of a sudden become Henry, and it was like Jerry over here. You know what I mean? Like, and when was it 1980, and now it's like 19, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was controlled. So, you knew the era. You knew the situation enough, and yeah, the dialogue was very good. It was organized, just freaking long, man.
No, like did you ever read Tommy Knockers?
No,
I love that one, dude. There was I still read, but I haven't done well with my reading as I like had, because there was a time where I like would read a lot, and I read a bunch of Stephen King for about like 5 or 6 years, like just like a bunch of different books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Salem is Lot, that's probably my favorite thing that he's ever written, I think. I used to read that every, like, end of September going into October.
I didn't get to read that. Well, I need to read that one. I loved 11/22/63, which was later.
I haven't read that one, but I do want to.
Fantastic. I never watched the show, but I did love that novel. It's a phenomenally written novel.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to check that one out.
Hell yeah. I highly recommend. Never did his Dark Tower.
I like those. I didn't like the way they really ended it, but I get it. Mm-hmm. So I'm like,
yeah, I've only heard good things. I haven't dove in. Honestly, I've not read a whole lot of Stephen King. I read, unfortunately, I did read a couple of the short stories, and one of them that I guess inspired the kid that shot up Columbine, because he wrote a short story about a school shooter.
Yeah, I think he wrote a book about it called Rage. And he pulled it from...
I didn't read that one either.
No, he pulled it. After he heard about the Columbine shooters with it, he pulled it, but...
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, bro. I think you gotta keep that, like, around.
I'm sure you could find it. I mean, he went under a different... I think it was a pseudonym. He had a different name back in the day.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But he did that for a different reason, though. Because I read his book on writing. Mm-hmm. He went under Bachman because he was...
That's what it was, Bachman.
Because he got obsessed, because he was like, man, was it just luck that I got published, or was it whatever? But I'm like, man, you never told about how under Bachman, did you go about it the same way you went about it whenever you were the young kid working your way up to a writer? Or did you just go to an agent? Because if you go to an agent and say, hey, here's a script under this false blah, 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 I'm like, that's not quite the same, bro. You had an agent take it to you. That wasn't working your way up. I think you proved yourself whenever you worked your way up from the short stories, and then you finally got the novels, like, published.
Absolutely. And then how the hell do you not go by the name Stephen King?
Right?
That's a great fucking name for a writer.
Yeah, exactly. I've liked how he's done some of his crime novels and stuff too. Although I recently read Mr. Mercedes, and though I enjoyed it, I kind of, and I'm gonna read the other 2 books to that trilogy and everything. But I'm like, I like it when you do have more of a supernatural element to some of the things. Yes. Sometimes I'm like, you do well when, like, Stephen King always just does, like, a little bit better when he has a supernatural element. Even if it's, like, a crime story or something, but if there's a ghost somehow that happens, I'm like, I don't know. It elevates it for
The
some
stakes
way.
are higher somehow.
Yeah. Somehow.
100%.
Shit, yeah. Yeah, I know that dog kind of pushed you out of the spot.
I know, it's all good.
But-
I'm hanging out with you. You're my buddy now. You're my buddy.
Right?
Yeah, you're such a good girl. I'm digging you. I love dogs, man. I that's why I can't go to the SPCA. I'll fucking adopt every dog.
What is it now?
SPCA.
What's that?
It's like a rescue for dogs, cats, and small pets. They have them here in California.
Huh.
It's funny because like I'll go on the website, I'll show my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, get off there. You're gonna end up coming home with one of those fucking dogs. I'm like, you're right, I will, because I love doggies. You guys are the best. I like your cat too. Your cat was just over here.
Yeah, no, she was. But yeah, I was gonna say all the animals are coming out tonight. Like they're all comfortable now.
I tend to attract animals. They like me. Huh.
Oh yeah,
Isn't
that's
that
cool.
right, Maui? You smell my dog yet? That's all it is, I'm sure.
And what kind of dog do you have?
She's a dachshund, man. Her name's Reina, which is Spanish for queen.
Cool.
And at the time, I got her because it was with my ex, and I was talking to breeders for a Siberian Husky.
Mm-hmm.
And her friends get home from class because she was going to nursing school at the time, and I'm laying in bed, probably fucking hungover. And she puts this little wiener dog, Reina, and it was during. I think it's called in Spanish, I might be butchering this, but I think it's Tres Reyes or Reyes de Magos, which is like Three Kings. It's like the second Christmas during January. And
I'm kind of familiar. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Three Kings. The Three Kings is a popular thing in Spanish culture.
so-
Yeah, you're right.
So we got her, that's what we landed on the name Reina, but it was funny because she comes home with her, she goes, I got us a dog. And I was like, I don't want that dog. I told you I was talking to a breeder. She puts the dog in the bed with me and immediately starts kissing me. I said, yeah, it's my dog.
And that's the Dachshund, right?
That was 9 years ago. Her birthday.
Oh shit. Okay.
Her birthday's in September. And I've been stuck with her ever since, man. My ex tried to abandon her, actually. So her mom brought her to my house and went, yeah, I'm sorry. After you guys broke up, she didn't want her anymore. So she's like, do you want her? I was like, well, hell yeah, I do. We were like doing like a shared custody thing with a kid where she'd go travel. Hey, can you watch Raina? I'm like, sure, I would. Can I keep her? No, I'm keeping her. And she's being all vindictive. But then she tried to abandon her. So her mom brought her to me and was like, look, I know this is like your dog, and here you go. And I've had her ever since, man. I love that dog very much. And I definitely want to get more dogs now that I bought a house. I want to have like 4 dogs.
Alright, real quick, like talk to me about that. My sister recently bought a house. She's in South Carolina. You're in California. So what's that like buying a house out here?
So it's in Placer County. It was very cool. I got very lucky. I found a good area. It's a new development, so it's a new house. And they actually, because I was a serious buyer. I was just sick of living in my apartment. I lived there for the last 4 or 5 years. And I was like, all right, it's not the best time to buy a house, but I'm like, let me see what I can do with this. And they bought me down a couple points in the interest rate for the mortgage, lowered the price a little bit, so I got really lucky. But I did look around for a bit, and things weren't so overpriced because the feds knew the rate would get cut again. So they were bringing the prices down because the rates were already high. Mm-hmm. So like with the mortgage, when you break it all down, you end up paying a lower price than it's worth. And you have a shitty rate, or you pay a good rate with a shitty price. So it's like they kind of offset with our economy. So what it's like, you'll get lucky if you look enough, because there's enough people who left California. I got really lucky just because it's a brand new house. And, I went from having PG&E to now I went to the city I live in now. They do their own utilities, and I have solar. So all in all, I got very lucky. And I joke about this. I talk about this a little bit in my stand-up, but I've come a long way, man. I at the time with the same ex that I had this dog with before I moved out, we broke up. Man, I was living in her kitchen for a brief amount of time. Yes, I used to live in my ex-girlfriend's kitchen, and I joke around.
Hey man, the struggle could be real, but
it
fuck,
was
dude,
real. That was 7 years ago. So I come a long way. I didn't always wasn't always blessed to be in the position I was in.
Can I ask you real quick,
Yeah.
sidetrack, but added to this story.
Yeah.
What led you to be living in the kitchen, though?
So this is a great story. So she cheated on me.
Oh, fucking
And
Christ.
we broke up, and I was like, all right, I rented this house out. Her mom, little brother and sister lived with us because they were all illegal immigrants. And she so how they felt living in this country is how I felt living in that kitchen. All right, so
yeah, bro, you were living like your ancestors back whenever they came over from Italy. You know what I mean? All the
exactly.
immigrants are living close
I wasn't
together.
focused on thread count. I was just focused on tortilla counts.
Holy shit.
No, but yeah. So we break up, and one day I come home because her and we shared the master bedroom together, so it was just awkward. I come home and my ex at the time and her mom moved all my shit to the kitchen, and they curtained it off. And I had a little curtain. It was like smaller than a jail cell space, like a small bed, TV, and a dresser, and that was it. And I did that for maybe 3-4 months until I moved out and rented a house. This is back in the Bay Area. I lived in Sassoon City at the time.
Oh shit.
And I got out of there, but it took me some time, and in the interim, I was living in her fucking kitchen. And I was so heartbroken, and this is like 7-8 years ago now, so I was, that's another joke I have in my stand-up. It's like, he might ask me, like, why the hell did you stay? Who didn't you call? Like, why did you stay in the kitchen? And I tell people, like, I was young and dumb, but honestly, I just love Mexican food. But no, I mean, I was trying to make things work with her, and I don't know. I mean, I had a bad alcohol problem at the time. I was smoking a ton of weed too, so I was smoking weed. I was drunk all the time.
Okay, and I was gonna say now I understand why you don't.
So I just wasn't
don't
making
drink
good
or do
decisions.
anything like that. Yeah.
No, I'm on. This is day 267. No drinking.
Oh yeah, congratulations.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Yeah, I used to have a fucking problem in COVID. I quit for a couple of years, and then COVID happened. And honestly, I would drink a bottle of whiskey every single night.
Damn.
Every night. I would just be sipping on it with some ice. Sip, 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 sip. Bottle gone. The whole and it was always Kentucky bourbon. I love Kentucky bourbon. And if it wasn't a bottle of whiskey, I shit you not, dude. It'd be about 20 to 30 beers a night. I weighed 70 pounds more than I do now.
Would you at least like write when you were sipping on the whiskey?
I wasn't doing comedy during that time.
Oh damn, fuck! I was gonna say if you were writing doing like sipping on whiskey, it's like at least you're doing the writer's kind of lifestyle.
I was just drunk funny.
Drunk funny.
I was just on my couch falling asleep every night with the glass of whiskey in my hand. Get up the next morning, go to work all hungover and shit.
All right, damn. We'll get further on to that, but anyway, buying a house and everything, because we'll like get back on like to that.
Yeah.
So, because like shit, like prior like to, because we were talking about right before, because we were still talking about buying a house, but then
buying a house in this area.
But no, you were living in the kitchen. So what led you from living in the kitchen to being able to get a house?
So fortunately, I used to work, and I could say their name. I used to work for Sears at the time, and I did go to college. I used to be a middle school teacher many years ago.
Oh
and
shit!
I
Okay,
fucking
damn.
hated it. So I had fail safes to get a better job if I wanted one. But I was recruited by a new retail company, who I'm not going to name. And fortunately, I just really applied myself, and I was able to drive results, make good business, and I was really good at running business. I'm good at it. Naturally, they promoted me to like a district manager level. And then I ended up making a little bit more money. I was renting that house still in Sassoon, so I was actually taking Amtrak. I don't call it Amtrak, I call it Scamtrak. Fucking Amtrak, I hate it. Anyway, so I took Amtrak every day to Oakland, so I was on the train about 2 to 3 hours a day, an hour and a half one way, an hour and a half back the other way. Yeah. So I'd get up like at 6 a.m., get to work by 8, then I'd get home at 8 o'clock at night every single day. And I was working 78-hour weeks. And I was just working my ass off. And during COVID, I never went on furlough. I never took the 2 weeks. I also never tested. So there's that.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, but I worked through the whole thing. And fortunately, they rewarded me for that, because I was working. I never really, got the unemployment or anything. And then I was able to rebuild my credit because it was shitty. And then I moved up, to Placer County where I live now. Transferred from the Bay Area with that same company. then my new company recruited me, gave me the job that I have now, and just from sheer just working as hard as I can. Am I perfect? No, nobody is, but I do, and I'm like this with stand-up. I believe you got to have a gritty work ethic, and the harder it seems like it is, the harder you got to work at it. That's just my mindset. So financially, it put me in a position now where I can buy a house. I don't have the biggest house, like I have no backyard, but it's a new house, it's a long way from my ex-girlfriend's fucking kitchen. So,
Bro, it's buying a house. I
Yeah,
don't fucking
yeah.
you
So,
know what I mean?
I feel blessed, where I
In
work very hard.
Placerville, right?
Placer County.
Placer
Not
County,
Placerville,
okay.
but Placer County. Out there by Roseville, Rockland, Granite Bay,
Yeah,
that
I
area.
get you. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so that's a nice area.
Yeah, so it's
Placer.
cool. I like it. It's good for a California Republican. So
Yeah, no, you're in the right spot.
I'm in the right spot. Yeah. But it definitely took many years. It took a lot of work and a lot of bad times too. And then me getting sober too is a big reason for my financials getting better. Dude, alcohol is expensive.
Oh yeah, no,
Holy
if you're drinking
shit.
all the damn time, yeah, if you're getting a
Bottle
bottle
of
of
whiskey a
goddamn
night.
whiskey, unless you're getting like the $2-3 like vodka,
The
but I
cheapest-
doubted that. But no,
no.
you're getting whiskey.
The cheapest I'd run with was like Evan Williams or Larceny. They're both Kentucky. But
How
they're
much do those go?
Like
I-
20, 18 bucks a
God,
bottle.
yeah, no wonder
But-
you're burning through it. You're spending
but
like
then
there's
I
like
started-
$5 whiskey out
But it
there.
got worse, but I was like, I'm gonna get some Willet, which is like 120 a bottle. It's that big ass like flute shape with the big base bottom. I was fucking drinking that every night, and it's just like, what am I doing to myself? And honestly, my doctor said if you keep this up, you're gonna die in 10 years or less.
Yeah.
She's like, your blood pressure's horrible. She's like, you've already done liver damage.
Jesus.
And it's not good that I'm smoking cigarettes. So instead of fucking up my liver, I'm fucking up my lungs. They're bigger. No, I mean, but anyway, like the thing is, the big thing too is just financially being more responsible from not drinking. Honestly, that is like one of the biggest things.
Right? No, I was gonna say, man, like, again, I don't drink like that, but I was gonna say, fuck, son, if you're drinking like whiskey, I was like, here's like some Canadian Mist, $5.
Yeah.
We don't need to spend like $120 or like what?
Dude, I was going hard, and like I said, and then I was such an alcoholic dumbass at the time. My doctor's like, you need to scale back. I was like, okay, scale back. So I'll go from whiskey, a bottle a night, to like 20 or 30 beers. That's scaling back. And she like sees me for follow up and goes, yeah, that's the same fucking thing. It's actually worse
I was
because
gonna
now your
say that-
cholesterol's up.
But that's like our logic, though. That's
Yeah.
like that's male logic.
That's
is to
male
be like,
logic.
"Oh, that's cutting
Alcohol
back."
male logic.
Yeah, right.
Alcoholic male logic, rather. Yeah, it was.
Like John
Otherwise.
Kennedy's like, oh, I switched from smoking cigarettes. Like, I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. She's like, that's good. It's like, I just smoke cigars now. Like,
Yeah, it is that same, like, just freaking, male alcoholic way of thinking, of solving a problem, which you didn't solve. In fact, like I said, I made it worse. It was like, okay, your liver's bad, your blood pressure's bad, now your cholesterol's bad.
yeah, right.
So I
No,
just said,
you
okay.
doubled down in the worst way.
Tripled down in some ways. So February 16th was the last time I had a drink, and
Well,
207 days.
congratulations
Thanks,
to you, man.
I appreciate that.
No, there's another friend. I won't mention their name or anything or whatever. But I partied with them a little bit, and like parts of the one was the partying at night. It was like all cool, but then the next day it's like, let's get a shot ready, bro. And I'm like over at the coffee pot. I'm like, dog.
I can't.
I'm like, I'm ready for like a cup of coffee right now. You're wanting to do a shot at like 8 a.m. somewhere. I'm like, what? And I get it. There's some days where it's like, fuck it, dude. If we're in party mode, then it's whatever. But if it's like a day like after like, we partied last night, we might like kick it later and have some beers at the river today.
Sure.
But you're ready to fucking have a shot at like 8 a.m.
I do
And
miss
then-
that about drinking. Like sometimes day drinking does hit differently, and it can
I
be
don't
so
know.
much fucking fun. Sometimes.
Really, I don't
Not
enjoy
always.
it as much. It's fun when you have a barbecue or you have a social gathering.
Yeah.
If you're at the house, because like there's been days to where I'll just be like, oh, it's like 2 or something like that, and I'll crack a beer, and it's like before you know you've had like, not even like many of them, like 2, 3 of them. If you've like 3 beers and there's nothing going on, it's like, hey, what the fuck am I doing drinking at 2? and now if I'm writing or something and I'm getting in that mode, it's different.
Sure.
But if it's just like for the sake of it, then like, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to be drunk by
It's
like
just
noon.
depressing.
Yeah, it's just
No, I
like,
always
it's
had
not
a
fun.
rule.
Yeah.
I always had the 5 o'clock rule. Like I would crack open the whiskey bottle after 5, most times. But there was a few times, especially before I quit, where I did get into date, especially when I went to beer. I'd go down, because at the time in my old apartment, I had a tap room right in walking distance from me.
Oh yeah, you got to go
So
down.
I'd walk
you got
there,
that.
take a book with me, and I'd drink, like, I'd have like 6 beers there, go home, drink a 20-pack after, and then pass out. And then there would even be some nights where I'd start whiskey in beer. And like, I'd have like a half bottle of whiskey and like 16 beers. And I liked hazy IPAs.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I was a major, I had a fucking problem.
No, I get
So
you.
I stay away from it now. Weed too. I had a problem with weed. I was eating edibles all day long, and I'd be fucking like paranoid at work over nothing.
Fuck, really?
Nothing.
Man.
Nothing.
See, I wish edibles would work on me like that, because I've eaten edibles. Bro, edibles
to
will hit
love
me
them.
at like the oddest time. and
Yeah,
shit.
the next day.
well, for me, because I remember one night I ate 1,000 milligram edible. We went out drinking and
Holy
everything,
shit.
and I think like it hit me that night. I don't know. I was having fun. Nothing bad happened that night. But then I remember having 1,000 milligram one day early in the day, like at noon. I was gonna go do something at like 3 o'clock, something like that. So that's what I had at that time. Like not really feeling anything. And then I don't think I ate anything anymore, and I didn't feel it until the next day. I went to bed, I woke up feeling like I could feel it, and I was like, I knew that's what it was. I was like, oh shit, I can actually feel it. And then one day I actually had a stage play, right? And I ate a 300 milligram brownie before going on, because I'm like, let's see what's going to happen here. For whatever reason, I felt that one hitting, but it didn't mess me up during the stage.
Oh, that's good.
Like when I was on there, like it hit me when I was walking on the scene when we were going to do like some motion as a group. And I just remember feeling it hit and looking at the audience, and I was like, don't fucking be a bitch, man. Like, it was seriously a thought like that. I was like, don't be a bitch, man. Enjoy this. And then I was like,
enjoy the Shakespeare play.
and then a smile came on my face, and I did it. We started going into the song, whatever it was. And I did it, and I had, like, you know, a great performance set. But I remember feeling it on that one, coming on the stage. I was like, oh, shit, I can feel this bit.
I
like,
hallucinated one time on an edible.
No, I believe it's some. Tell me about this. What
I
happened?
have. It was hilarious. This is with the ex that I lived in her kitchen. I remember
Okay.
before I was in the kitchen and I was in the bedroom.
Before I was in the kitchen.
This is before kitchen time era. So I remember I bought these because I love sour belts. I like sour candy a lot. So I bought these sour belts that were, you know, the packaging said 2,000 milligrams, right?
Oh shit!
And I was thinking like, okay, so if it's like these sour belts in there, I'm okay to eat a couple of them, right?
Yeah.
So I eat 2, and I have very fast metabolism, so that's why I liked edibles. They'd hit me quick.
Gotcha.
So I ate 2 of them, and all of a sudden, dude, I see my heart beating out of my shirt. It's like, do-do-do-do-do-do, and I'm going, what the fuck is wrong with me? And my ex at the time, I go up to her, and I'm like, I'm wasted. And we're in her bedroom. She goes, what the fuck did you do? I said, I ate the sour belts. And I said, I am so fucked up. I'm like, I'm paranoid right now. I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna get arrested. She's like,
I'm gonna get arrested.
She's like, you don't commit any crimes. What are you talking about? I was like, I don't know. Like, am I gonna get arrested for being high? And like, I just start spinning. And then we lay in bed, and I'm like, breathing like this, and she goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? I said, these edibles are fucking me up. I'm like, I'm fucking flipping out right now. She goes, what? She's like, do you want to have sex or something? Like, I was like, I can't fuck you right now. I was like, I can't even think about boners.
Do you
like,
want to have sex? She said.
and then she was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I'm just going to lay here and hope it goes away. She goes, it's not going to go away. Because she liked to smoke too, but she hated edibles for this reason.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she's like, it's not going to go away. It's going to take hours. It's fucking edibles. So then I close my eyes, and then I open them. Have you ever seen the movie Interstellar?
Yeah.
Okay. So remember toward the end when he falls in that tesseract of time? That's what I saw. I saw a tesseract of my life. I was like, childhood, right now, me being paranoid, before I ate the edible, tomorrow morning. Like, it was like all these moments, and I saw it with my eyes open, and I was like, there's no way I'm awake. I must be dreaming. And she's looking at me just freaking out like, you are fucked up right now on this shit. And then she gets the packaging, comes over to me, and goes, I know what happened. And I said, what? And she looks at me and goes, the packaging says 2,000. She goes, how many belts did you eat? I said 2. She goes, okay. So there's only 4 fucking belts in this packaging. So I ate 1,000 milligrams of this shit.
Oh shit, yeah,
at one time.
And that's all THC, right?
And it was like some potent shit. We bought it in San Francisco at a dispensary called Spark, spelled with a C. Spelled with a C. It's like the Apple store for weed. You go in there, you're like, what the fuck?
San Francisco got some good shit going down.
You go in there, and like Steve Kerr, the head coach of the Warriors, is in there smoking a gravity bong. It's like, what the fuck? Where am I? So I go in there, and I buy these edibles, and I buy a bunch of flowers and shit. We take it home, I eat them, and then I read the packaging where I was like, okay, it's 2,000. I'm okay, I'll just eat 2 belts. Yeah, dickweed. There's like 500 milligrams in each fucking belt, and I ate 2 of them. And
shit.
dude,
yeah, whenever you described it the first time, I did not realize it.
I was fucked up. I usually would do like 10, 20 milligrams, maybe 50. You know, because I get like these little candies, these little sour candies, like they'd be sour patch watermelons. And then they were like 10 each. So I'd eat like 2 or 3 and I'd be good. I'd be chilling. And I'd take some CBD. Dude, I was eating edibles all day long. Like all day long. I would take the little tincture drips of CBD. I'd eat the candies. Every hour I'd have like 1 or 2 candies. Dude, I ate 1,000 milligrams at one. I have never done that. And it was potent shit. I think it was made with Granddaddy Perp. So I'm pretty sure it was indica.
Oh yeah, no, if you got like a heavy dose of indica, that's gonna want to make you go, woo!
Yeah. I hallucinated. I saw a tesseract of my life, of time frames. And you know, I will still from time to time do psychedelics. I love mushrooms. I've done DMT a few times. I'm a big fan of DMT. I highly recommend it.
I've done.
So really recommend it.
I've done DMT, but it wasn't the real dope. I took a hit out of like, I'll just say Lola's Pen. Any comic knows who that is. I don't think I'm throwing like talking out of school or whatever. But like it was like but I was told like, yeah, it ain't that good. But I remember when like it was supposedly a DMT pen. I hit it once prior to this night, and it felt whatever. Nothing amazing happened. But then the one night that I hit it at this party, I remember hitting it. And then walking, there was like, you know, some people around or whatever. And the experience I got was, like, it felt like being on a film set.
Oh, shit, okay.
But none of the cameras were recording.
Right.
Does that make any sense to you?
Well, it's almost like you checked out of, like, the Matrix. Like,
yeah.
You're, like, behind the scenes, like, oh, shit, this shit seems staged. What's going on?
Exactly. It was just like, but the thing was, like, I kind of felt like none of this is real. It was kind of like everyone at the party or whatever, it's, you know, even if I walked past them and whoever else was past them, like it would have just been other people. But it was like kind of that same thing. It was like, man, if I walk past these people, it's like I'm just going to walk out into the audience, but there ain't going to be an audience there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It was a really like interesting like feeling and all that kind of thing.
The few times I've done it, my buddy from Switzerland is a botanist. He went to Berkeley, so he knows how to extract it from the bark. And he's done it. We've smoked it in a pipe, and I was pretty much immobile. I was a 15-minute trip.
Yeah, you got a real dose. You got it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the pyramids. I saw the clowns. I saw the gestures, the aliens. I guess there were more gestures than clowns.
Now okay, now it's funny you say this, because I had a friend that told me, and I don't know if this is from like the collective of like just like seeing stuff online and that's what they're called, but like a friend, and I can't remember if he exactly called them gestures or what he called them, but he said he ran into like
mimes.
But he called them whatever they were, but they had alligator heads, is what he said.
Oh, I've heard of that. I haven't experienced that.
But he said, but he called them the gestures or whatever he called them they were. But he said they had alligator heads, and I can't remember what they told him or whatever, but it was like they came into a spiral or something like that, but they had alligator heads, and they told him something, but I can't remember now what it was that they told him or whatever.
The key ones I had, they were just like roasting me. They were making fun of me like in ways of like private moments I'll never tell anybody. but they were talking about him. They were showing them to me, saying, "You fucker, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this." And then all of a sudden, it was like just like extreme over the top emotional. Then like I would see like this goddess kind of like golden lady figure, and then she had many beautiful shaped eyes, colors, and then she brought me into a pyramid in the middle of a field and said, "Okay, now all that happened. This is why you're gonna forgive yourself." And then I snapped out of it.
And that's from the DMT.
Yeah, it like just it's like a breakthrough.
Did you get like why
Emotionally.
did you get why you were gonna forgive yourself, or did you get it, or like was it about to happen and it didn't? Like,
I
you were
remember having
breaking through and it
tears
stopped.
when I snapped out of it and I could finally like around like how we see right now, like started to see, and I wasn't like actually full blown tripping. I was just like seeing, stuff seemed distorted. I felt tired, and I remember tears coming to my face. And my buddy, who, again, he's a botanist, he's the one that got the extract from the bark. He's just laughing at me. He goes, "Dude," he goes, "you fucking had a God moment." He goes, "You're never going to be the same." And I wasn't. And I'm thankful for, that's why I like psychedelics, because I hear that, like, they're that's why I'm excited about RFK, honestly, because like he wants to make it where they use this stuff to treat things like post-traumatic stress, depression, anxiety. And for me, man, I came out of doing it feeling like, holy shit, like this really did cure like this depression. And I used to be onto antidepressants. I stopped taking them, and that's when I drank. So I did it and drank, which didn't help. But and I mentioned this earlier, I have Asperger's, which makes you anxious and it makes you not think of things the same way other people do, and I'm thankful for it, but I'm also not. And I still get very depressed sometimes, and it's hard for me to do comedy sometimes when I'm like this. I was talking to another comedian, I was telling her, she was like, "Are you gonna come to the mic?" And I said, "No, I don't even feel like being funny. Nothing's funny to me right now."
Oh shit!
So it happens.
I get that. I've had those moments though.
Yeah, it's normal.
Maybe different from like yours, because you like Asperger's. I don't know how that, but I've had those moments though to where it's like I'm like fucking going down there, and I'm not.
Oh, you kidding me? Laugh? Are you kidding me? I can't laugh at shit right now.
But that said, like I've had nights where it's like fuck, I'm gonna go down there anyway, feeling like worse as shit.
Yeah,
whatever.
I've had those too.
Best sets I'm tired. Best sets ever.
It's
well,
like
I don't
crazy.
know what the fuck. Yeah, like I don't go up there grouchy and be like, "How are you fucking?" I don't.
Which I've done.
No, and I've done that too, and it's
I
worked.
made that
I've done it when it has, but I've never done it on those nights when it's up there. I'm just like, I go up there. I don't even know how I go up there. I'm just probably like, I could be like,
You force yourself to do it.
Something I go up there and I do it, and then as soon as it starts going, as soon as like one person chuckles or it starts going well, it's like you're skiing, dude. It's like fuck it, bro. I can hit a 360 on this.
Yeah,
show.
it's almost like a drug.
Set me up, yeah.
It's like, oh shit, we're in this. Okay. Let's see how much more we can do.
Right.
And I've had those nights too where I was like, I don't want to do comedy, and I go and I do it anyway, and it ends up being awesome. And tell me if you've experienced this. Have you ever gone to a room, and I know we have them here in SAC, I'm not going to call any of them out necessarily, but there's a couple rooms out there where you just look at the situation, the crowd, the people who are there, not so much the comics, I love all the comics, but it's more the people in the crowd or at the bar, especially bar joints. So if it's like a bar open mic, have you ever had this? I've had it where you're like, fuck, I don't want to go up. Like, dude, it's gonna suck. I'm gonna bomb. I'm gonna just eat shit because this room sucks. You go up there, you all of a sudden you kill it.
Yes and no. Because when you're setting that up, I was thinking like he's gonna be like, you look at people in the audience and you're just like, I want to talk shit to this motherfucker.
No, it's like I go.
No, yeah, because I was thinking the exact opposite. Because me, it's like in that situation, usually that's what I do. Is like I'll go up there, maybe aggressive, maybe not, but like it just depends on how I feel that night. Like I don't want to set it off in a bad way, but it's like I gotta get some attention, dude. These people are looking for something. I'm not gonna come across as hostile, really, or at least like that's not the intention.
Right.
But I'm gonna come across aggressive or whatever. I'm gonna talk to you, but that's also me playing. It's like, yeah, what's up? It's like, bro, why are you being hostile? I wouldn't. So it throws people off, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
So I'll change it up, but finally it's like, okay, I got a reaction. I can play with this fool, broadcast it out, and we can start joking, because now people are like looking like, oh shit, what's going on here? And it's like we brought him into a lively thing, and so now it's fun. But again, like I said, coming from a theater background,
Sure. Oh yeah.
like, which is funny too, because like people will talk about heckling and all that, and it's like I have different visions of what's like heckling versus like what's like what do they call like audience involvement? Because like live theater, you're always wanting if the audience can get involved a little bit, if they're saying words like "No, don't do it," or blah blah blah, like, or what, that's not really heckling. It's whenever they're stepping on your punchline or getting involved.
Yeah,
And
that's participating. Heckling is
disrupting.
It's
That's
always,
how I look
the
at it.
heckler is always the one that's like, oh no, fuck this person. I want to be the center of attention. Now I know there's some hecklers that think, oh, I want to help the show. There's that heckler, but it's like in all actuality, for me, like I have a viral clip of me dealing with a heckler.
Yeah.
And I'm working on it. I'm still working on it because I'm still young to this. But I get pretty angry when I get a heckler. Because for me, my thing is about timing. I time out, like, because I just really do jokes. I do one-liners.
And can I ask you this real quick?
Yeah.
You say you get angry when you get a heckler. You
I
mean
do.
like whenever you're getting ready to say a punchline and they say something?
Yes, the
or
worst.
what is it that makes you mad about a heckler that you don't like?
Well, so I'll give you an example. This happened at Vince's last Friday, right? And I won't name anybody. I don't know if they'll ever watch this, but you know, there's a guy there, and it's like he's known to always heckle all the comics.
Yeah, that one little cunt.
Yeah.
You got to find a way to shut him up anyway.
Yeah.
I digress. Continue.
And he wasn't so much the problem. It was the lady behind him. She was doing this thing where she was, and again, like, this was partly my fault, and I even made fun of myself. I did. I do a lot of self-deprecating jokes. So I made fun of myself, and then I thought she would stop. So I told another joke, maybe about my ex-girlfriend or something. I don't want to do the joke, but I said it, and she made a comment. She said, "That's disgusting." Like, it just out of nowhere. So I looked at her and I said, "Yeah, so is your Botox." And
That's good.
she just was like, "Oh, you did not." She goes, "I don't have Botox." I was like, "No, you're right. You probably have AIDS." So, you know,
Hey man, salute to that. That's a good
salute.
roast to that. But
well,
no,
my
sometimes.
mind always goes to, I'm gonna fucking destroy you, because I waited all day to try these jokes that I think I worked very hard on, and you little cunt, like, you think you could just make this about you now. You didn't sign up to come up here. So where my anger comes from is this, it's just like, that person is then trying to take away something from me that is very important, because my life, you know, work, I'm good at it, but I don't really like it. I'd much rather be a stand-up comedian, honestly. But whatever, right? Wish in one hand, shit in the other, they say. So see which one fills up faster. You know, the thing is, I feel like, and I feel this way for other comics when I see them, and the thing that made me more mad wasn't even just about myself. They were doing it to every comedian before me.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? If I have to be the asshole and almost make it unfunny, almost serious, for the sake of shutting them the fuck up for the rest of the show, I'm willing to do it. I notice a lot of comics, they want to be nice, they want them to like them, they want them to laugh at them. There's some people, when they do that, when they heckle or they disrupt, I'm like, I don't even want to make you laugh. Fuck you. I'm going to fucking ruin you. I'm going to make fun of you. I'm going to fucking annihilate you until you never want to heckle somebody again. That becomes my frame of thought, and I'm trying to move away from that, because the viral clip of the heckler I had, I roasted her, but I brought it full circle and said, you know what? Here's the thing. You said I have a Jew fro, right? My name's Christopher. My name's Christopher. That means Christ is in my name, and it's a bit I do. It's about, people think I'm Jewish because my hair on my nose. And I say, well, what
here I am Jewish. I should have all that shit.
Yeah.
We should be switching to
Yeah.
nonetheless. But.
Yeah, and I tell people, like, the first thing is Christ is in my name. And then I say, you know, would a Jew really have the Virgin Mary tattooed on their lower back? Well, I don't think so. I do. And it's not the Star of David, it's not a tramp stamp, it's my Christian camp stamp. And then I told her, thank you for being a good sport, so I brought her full circle. That's what I'm trying to get to. With these people at Vince's last week, I just wanted to fucking destroy them. So she said something else, I don't remember what she said, and I just simply got really angry, and I said, shut up, hooker. And the whole room, even the bartender, who we all know, shout out Rachel, she got pissed and was like, whoa, that's way too far. And I said, it may not be far enough. She's also a cunt. Like, I just kept digging.
No, but you got to sometimes. Hey, if they're coming at you and like, it's like a game of Battleship almost. You got to keep like, I'm gonna fire on you till you sink, bitch. I can't be having you talking on my shit.
That alcoholic we were talking about earlier, that fucker, he starts saying stuff to me, and the first thing that happened, I forgot what he said first, but then I think he was talking about my punchline. He was like, "Oh, yeah, so that means your girlfriend was young, ha ha ha." And I looked at him and I said, "Well, maybe, but not as young as you like them. That's why you can't go 500 feet within a school." And I just started going in on it.
That is a pretty good slam right there.
I think so. Then the lady says something, and I just try to shut it down. And I use this a lot, but usually when a woman heckles me, the line I like to go to try to shut them up to move on to my jokes. I want to tell my jokes.
Yeah.
Is I'll just say, you know what? I'll move on like your dad did.
Which isn't bad, but like that audience you're talking about, like as soon as you engage with, even if you don't engage with them, it's like almost like a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
You don't want to ignore them because they're sitting right in front of you.
Bro, but they're one of them, like, I can't remember what I said, but I know who you're talking about, but I slammed him like once long ago, and I didn't realize he was like kind of like a continuous heckler.
He's a cunt, dude.
Like, I just knew him in the audience, and he kind of cracked me up on some of his heckles that he said.
Some of them were funny.
But he said something like during mine, which then, and I just was like, I can't remember what I said to him, but it shut him down. He didn't say anything for the rest of the night.
He shut up after I was done with him. He did.
But there's some of those cats that's what you have to do. You just have to shut them down for whatever. It's like, bro, it's like if you do engage with them, it's like, bro, if you don't engage with them right, they're gonna fucking bust you the whole fucking set.
They
like,
will.
You know what I mean?
So I come at him hard. I roast him hard. I roast him pretty mean. And the thing I like to do too at the end of my roasting, I keep a clock in my head of, okay, how long have I been up here? And I said this to the lady of my clip that went viral. I said this last week to them. I said, listen, I've been up here for 3.5 or however long. I've been up here for 3.5 minutes. And I've been making fun of myself the whole time. Why would you think it's a good idea to say something to this person? If I'm making fun of myself and you're being an asshole, what do you think I'm going to say to you? And, I've been asked to do roast battle because I am very good at insults. That's one thing I may have made people laughing before I did comedy, or my comebacks or my insults. But my thing is, I want to focus solely on my stand-up before I go do these extracurricular stuff.
Yeah.
I really want to make sure I get this hour together of great jokes. Like, I want to write these amazing, like, just phenomenal jokes. So I work really hard on them. I don't want to do anything else because, like, my whole thing right now is putting together this hour. That's my goal, is to get an hour.
Hey, work on 20 and then graduate to an hour.
I'm doing like 5, 5.
No, I mean, it's good that you have like that focus, but I'm just saying, like, hey, get a good 20 minutes. And once you have that done, and then it's like, all right, now focus on the hour. Like, not saying don't neglect the hour but it's like, really focus on the hour. Like, once you got like a good 20 or something.
Well, once I've done longer than 5 minutes, which I haven't even. I think the longest set I've done is 7 minutes.
Bro, some people do 15 minutes and they can go want to do something great. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't neglect like the thing, but like make sure you've got like a good 15 or 20 down, because that's
which I don't yet.
That's a good auditioner and everything. You know what I mean?
100%.
And truth be told, like, my thing is like, bro, he's doing 15 minutes already right now. He can do another 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Some club managers might be like lazy or something like that, to where it's like someone behind the scenes are like, how long's he done? He's at 10 minutes right now. And he's like, he's got 5 minutes left. It's like, give him another 15. Like, so-and-so's not ready yet. And like, meanwhile, you're waiting on the light, and they're just sitting over there giving you like shrugged shoulders. Like, what are you talking about, bro? There ain't no light. Yeah, keep talking.
We need you, our feature act OD'd or whatever happened.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If you got a good 20, you're good. It's just like, I think after that, you're good to, like, once you've done 20 minutes, like, it's, I'm not saying you can probably do an hour and a half, like, after doing like 20, but if you're doing 20 minutes, like, bro, you can do like probably 40 minutes or something right now. You got no problem.
Yeah,
you know?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, and that's the thing where, I remember Ralphie May and this YouTube clip, and actually, we were talking about this off air earlier, but a buddy of mine went to the stand-up boot camp back in, I think it was like 2009 or 10 or something, down at the Comedy Store. and Ralphie talked about it, and it's so true. He's like, you listen to comics and they tell you, how much time do you got? Well, if they tell you they have an hour, they really have 30 minutes. If they tell you they have 20, they really have 10. So it's like now I'm just like, okay, I'm fully honest. I only got 5. Like I really only have 5 because I know I was talking about this earlier. I did I did one set where I told, because I do jokes, one-liners, so I fill up time with a lot of material, but not a lot of stories because they're just joke.
And you don't need stories, dude.
No.
Every comic's
I
like.
just don't think that way either. I have to do. People tell me, dude, why don't you like expand more on that? I'm like, no, like I'm on to the next thing. Like my brain doesn't let me do that.
It's interesting how you tap on that, is because like to me, my mind is more story oriented.
Sure.
Not that I don't have like short like whatever, but I usually have like an explanation and then like some comedy in there.
Yeah.
Or like maybe I should say it's like a thought with like an explanation or whatever, but it's like that's how my comedy is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's one-liners, but most of the time it's like, nah, there's a story here and then something's funny within it. You know what I was like, that's kind of how it is, but
Yeah, like for me, it's just joke. It could be like thematically lumped together. Like it might be a few jokes about my mom, might be about girlfriend, ex-girlfriend. It might be just about me or childhood. Like I try to keep them thematically together.
Right.
But definitely, I have no problem of like zero segue. I joked about something about my childhood. Boom, I tell a joke about how my ex-girlfriend used to drug me and tie me up. Like I mean, it's like I could do that, and people are used to it. And I've heard this from people that go to these open mics. They're like, dude, I like the pace you have. You just come at it like nonstop.
right.
Yeah.
I gotta ask about it. Is that a true story? Your girlfriend used to.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It's just a bit that I'm doing.
Hell
Yeah.
I gotta check.
No, so I mean, I'll tell it. I mean, it's just the joke is just my girlfriend. It didn't start that way. I changed it. So it went to this, and actually I did it last night. And it did pretty well, but it's my girlfriend's hard on me. She used to drug me, tie me up, and take advantage of me.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I had to say, all right, that's it. It's the last time you treat me like this at IKEA.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah, so very misdirect,
I
like
gotcha.
shit like that.
Real quick, because that makes me think. Fuck, I don't. Because I don't know. I don't think this will like mess with my like set too much, but that kind of makes me think of a joke that I kind of had like just like the concept of it is. There was a time I came home, right, and I was grinding coffee just to make coffee, and I was thinking like, man, I wonder if a chick has ever used like a coffee grinder on her like pussy, like the. Because I've seen like shit like where they've used like washers going nuts, and they just sat there and like, ooh.
Oh yeah.
And so like just one, that's a dumb thought. And like to me, I'm like, man, and it made me laugh, right? It made me giggle. So I'm like, I gotta write that into a script. Mm-hmm. But I was like, fuck, dude, I don't have anything I'm writing at the moment that I can write that. And this was the first moment that I was able to come up with like, because any kind of time I told a story in comedy, it was always a true story or based off something true. This is the first time I came up with like a fictional story. And it was me like with like that coffee grinder thing. And I threw it into where it's like, man, there was one night, me and my girl were going at it. And it's like, I hadn't come yet, and she hadn't come yet. And I got a call, I had to go to work. It's like, go to work. When I come in, I'm hearing this sound, wow, wow. I walk in and my girl's got my coffee grinder on her pussy trying to climax with coffee grounds going on.
Oh, shit.
Because like I didn't have anything to write it into, but it made me laugh. I was like, all of a sudden it hit me. I could throw it into, make up a joke about it,
Yeah.
and it was there. And so it's become like a pretty good like joke that I.
Well,
do
you
every
could
now.
say, I caught her not masturbating. I caught her coffee mating.
I guess I could. I don't know. To me,
Coffee mate.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know. For me, like, it wouldn't work for like mine, but like, yeah, but that's an example of like I had a thought for something that was going to be used for something else because like, I wasn't even thinking of anything. It just came to me, and I was like, what the fuck can I use this in?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, I was like, and that's where I learned like with some comedy, it's like you could just make something up entirely and be a comedy bit.
Yeah.
And that from there I was able to, and I don't like doing that a whole lot. I like having real stories I can say, but having that in there, it's like, I've got some crazy ass stories that people wouldn't believe anyway. So
Yeah,
like that works in there.
My IKEA joke is just a backwards exaggeration because my girlfriend at that time, my ex, she loved to go to IKEA. Mm-hmm. So I was just thinking like, okay, if I work backwards of like at IKEA, what would be an insanely like just crazy build up to something unexpected to happen at IKEA? It'd be her to tie me up, drug me, and take advantage of me.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's interesting that that's where you come up with like that kind of comedy bit too. Is yeah. So it was like weird, like the thoughts, but like we were saying earlier about like having like a comedy like writing session. I'm like I don't like it when people call it like a writing session because like to me I'm like let's just have it like a sit down or a hangout because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
All you're doing is talking about nothing because like I don't think anyone. Like, forgive me, because I've never gone to a writing session. It's just
I haven't either yet.
But my
outside the class I did, which is kind of like one, but not really.
Well, does like someone show up at the class and be like, "Well, I've got this idea that I got this joke that Sally met." And
not really. It's like you go do stand up. First, like so, there's two classes. There's 101 and 201. 101. This is comedy spot. Shout out comedy spot.
Yeah.
So. The first 101 is like really introducing you. First class is like it introduces you to history of stand-up, what is stand-up, basic structure of a joke, which we all fucking know. It's no mystery, premise, setup, punchline. And then, you know, it's just all about that. Some general questions. Then classes 2 through 4, you actually perform in front of the class of material you write out for 5 minutes, and after we get in a circle, give feedback about it. So like that thing you said, like, oh, I have this joke about this. You can do it, but the thing is that makes it hard is you kind of got to perform it first. Then after you talk about it.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
That's actually, if you're talking about comedy, that's the best way to do it. Because if say we're talking about jokes right now, how we're sitting down, like if I describe a joke to you, it's not the same as going up there and
telling it.
And telling it and performing it out. And even telling it this way doesn't really do it justice so much as like you have to go out and like tell the joke or perform the joke in a sense. Even if you're telling a joke and your thing is like, well, I went up here and like that's your performance, bro. You gotta go up there and perform it however you're gonna go tell it.
My voice is much different like in this podcast than it is when I'm on stage. I'm pretty loud. And there's and part of comedy is exaggeration, so I exaggerate things a lot more. And then there's timing. Like I feel like this. That's what being funny is to a lot of us. It's like it's more like this intuitive feeling that you can't explain. Like it's like if I could explain it, it'd just be a bubble that I say here. There's that thing. It's funny. Like you as a funny person or as comedians, like we feel when we could be funny, when we could say, or if it's somebody who acts it out or makes like a noise or something, or if you have a prop, whatever it is, right? Like it's about timing too. So like I agree with you. It's like there is not a right way to really tell a joke or find out whether or not it really works unless you do it on stage because of timing, delivery. The writing is very fucking important. To me it is. It's the most important, to be honest. But like my voice inflection and my crescendo is much different than it is like with you and I sitting down right here.
No, exactly.
Way different. It's like I'm loud when I'm on stage. Not like I'm yelling, but like there is an exaggeration to me and my persona when I'm up there. Than there is like when you and I are just sitting here talking. You know, there's definitely more of an exaggerated version of me when I'm up there that you can't get from 100%. Just like, oh, hey, I wrote these jokes, let's go over them, which is tough. I mean, you could see like, oh yeah, that is funny. I could see how that's funny. But you never perform it the same way unless you're really up there. Yeah.
Oh, like I was going to say is like if you're having like a writing session, like that to me would be like again, like I said, I've never really gone to them. Like to me, I'm like a writing session is like almost this right now, where like friends hanging out, friends who are comics, and it's like, bro, that was fucking funny. Write that down. That's a writing session.
Yeah, or
but to show up and be like, because it's like, what else would a writing session be like? I don't know. I got this concept I'm working on. Do you find this funny. You know what I mean?
It's almost better, like, if you do it at the comedy club, which they do at Laughs. I saw it once. They actually will have a cool session where you're given a topic, and all of you have to go up there and write a minute about that topic and see how many jokes you could write. And you go on stage, so you're on the stage, you have the mic, you have the sound system, and you actually perform it. Like, that to me is a very cool writing session, because it's still stand-up, you know, and I think that's what we're getting at, is like, when you're sitting down like at a coffee shop, it's not really stand-up anymore. I mean, yeah, it's writing jokes, and it could be funny, you guys could roast each other, you could talk shit or whatever, but I think that, you know, a good writing session should be, alright, well, go up and do your fucking 5 minutes, dude, and then after we'll talk about it.
Right.
You know, I think that's better.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Like, I don't know, like, to me, like, we're talking about, like, writing sessions, like, I don't really go to them other than, like,
I'm open to it, but...
Like, I mean, I, like, am, but it's like, I feel like, but to me, I'm like, a good writing session is like, if I'm hanging out with, like, 4 or 5 comics and we're just walking around, like, town or doing something and we're goofing off, that's writing right there. Just write that down. If we're all hanging out, it's like, what are we doing other than sitting at a table? Are we just talking shit? Or are we, like, is someone coming up with us saying, listen, I've got a concept that I think this is funny because if I say so-and-so here and so-and-so there and they match and well, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, that,
actually, your punchline is not in the right spot.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I'm like, is that a writing session? I'm like, hang on a second. Like, I don't want to show up to that. But if we show up and we're just talking shit, it's like, dude, that's funny. Fucking hang on, let me write that down. You know what I mean?
Down, yeah.
That to me is a writing session. But like, I feel like that's like, all right, if I was gonna have a writing session, it would just be like, all right, we're gonna meet somewhere, we're gonna have like lunch or whatever, and then we're just gonna walk around town and just talk shit. We're just gonna goof off. I wouldn't even call it a writing session. I call it a goof off.
Just hanging out.
But that's a code name for a writing session. Because if you're not writing shit down while we're like doing this, you're dumb. This is some of your best material while we're like just having a good time goofing around.
It's natural.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is always the most funny. Is if it could come off as natural, not forced.
Right.
Those will always be your best jokes. You know, and I do love it when, like, if I perform and somebody that's seasoned, you know, comes up to me after and goes, oh, hey, dude, I thought of this tag, or hey, dude, like, when you said this, maybe if you said this in the beginning, like, that to me is like, that's like the best form of a writing. It's not even a writing session, it's just good feedback. But like, when you come off and somebody who really, really knows the game, knows comedy, like, pulls you aside and says, hey, like, that was some funny shit, but here might be a tag, or, you know, maybe if you did this, or if you cut out this part, like, that to me is like real writing. Like that's when you're like, okay, I'm actually writing and performing simultaneously. I'm taking feedback from the performance aspect of it, which is very important, but I'm also going after the writing either by, you know, trimming the fat on it, making it funnier quicker, or maybe coming at it with a different angle. That's always good to do too. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what they look like. I know there's a couple of them out there, and, you know, shout out to you guys. I've not tried to go to them yet. I don't know what they consist of, but I know the one at Laughs they do is pretty cool, because it's like you have to perform it, and then a bunch of people give you feedback on what you perform, which I think is like the real way to write jokes. And
that's good.
Yeah, I think that's very beneficial.
I think it's decent. Like, I don't think it's like necessarily the best way to write jokes. I think it's like
it's
really
good to make them better. I think probably.
Yeah. Well, because my idea, if you're gonna sit down and write joke, and again, like, we've kind of gone over it, it's like a little bit like different. It's like you sit down, and it's like you know, the guy's going out like doing comedy or whatever. But if you're gonna have like a group sit down to write jokes, like, I feel it's just kind of like, all right, you know, we'll kind of, I don't know, talk about whatever. Write it down, but going out and everything, I don't know. Like, it seems like it'll.
Yeah, for you know, I mean, that everyone's process is definitely different. Mine tends to be pretty crazy. You know, I tend to like rant out, and then I'm like, okay, where can I turn this into a joke or a one-liner? You know, a lot of it comes from me thinking like, okay, how do I make fun of myself for this that happened? And then my whole thing is like, it's almost like magic, like, cause like with me and there's only a couple of us that really do this kind of style of joke telling.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just the way my brain works. Like I tend to think in statements already as it is. So I can't go on and on about this one thing and then boom, punchline. Like I just don't think that way. I'm like, okay, what is it? How many words? All right, I'm taking you this way. Oh no, it's this way, and then it's funny. Oh yay, whatever. You know, so like it's tough too, because that's the thing that'll happen in a writing session is not everybody writes the same way.
No, exactly.
Yeah, and like I like what you were saying. Like it's like, dude, just like I don't know, go out and like go to the park or. You know, a group of us, like, we just go, like, maybe we just go to, like, a concert or something, or, you know, and then we end up writing funny shit that we said that day.
That's what I'm saying, like, a group of us, like, just walking around, like, town, seeing shit, like,
go to lunch or something?
Yeah, because we'd be goofing on something, and then everyone's going to get a different
Someone's
bit.
going to say some funny shit.
But, like, just going to, like, one setting and being like, whoa. What do you think about Kamala Harris losing? I'm like, really, I don't give a fuck about. You know what I mean?
One less thing to jerk off to. Sorry.
Exactly. No, I'm talking about jerking off and Kamala Harris. Like, listen, I'd bang one out to Kamala. I wouldn't bang one out. No, I would.
Yeah,
if I saw her in like fishnets or something. But listen, nah, I wouldn't want her. I wouldn't want to vote for her for president. I don't think that. But like, no, dude, banging her, I guarantee you that's good angry sex right there. She's the kind. She's pent up.
I'd be down.
She probably fucks in a good, hostile, loving way. You know those like hoes that fuck like really intense and angry, but they want love. That's like her. Man, those are complicated chicks.
I don't know. She's got some sex appeal to her.
Oh yeah, she's still banging. Please.
Oh yeah, I mean her husband's a freaking weirdo, but I mean she.
Damn, I didn't realize she was married though.
Yeah, she is. I always forget his name, but he was the guy that like banged a nanny or something.
He banged
something. I don't know. Something happened. I don't know.
He banged a nanny.
I'm sure she's a nice lady, but she.
Hey man, when your wife's busy politicking, you know what I mean. You got to stick it somewhere. So.
Yeah. Some lobbyist bends her over the desk somewhere, I'm sure.
She's fucking someone in the Secret Service. Come on now.
I don't blame her. They're keeping her safe, man. She could reward them somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, if you're Trump, dude, I mean, how do you not fuck every model? Like, you're a billionaire before you even were a president, like... I don't want to like go into, I don't want to be, oh fuck, here he goes talking about Trump. But it's like, I don't know, dude, like some of these people, I want to see what they're like when they're like looking in the mirror and like just thinking like, man, I'm me, like come on, I'm Donald Trump, like I'm me, like today I went out there and I did these crazy press conferences, like I want to know what he's like when he's like just like fucking eating McDonald's by himself, like. What does he think about, man? Like,
bro, with
he
Trump
probably has a crazy thought process.
Oh my god, no, he's funny. Like
He's
Trump,
hilarious.
dude, him eating McDonald's would be like, this is a good chicken McWhatever.
The salt.
I love it. The French fries, the salt of the French fries. You can't get French fries like this in any other American restaurant.
Kamala,
let alone any other.
Yeah, Kamala. When she worked at McDonald's, that one time she didn't make the fries this salty. Didn't happen.
Yeah, no, his whole way of talking is
hilarious, dude. I can't do a good Trump, but it's like, you know, like obviously Shane Gillis, he's got like the fucking best one. I mean, but
everything like Trump, like it's just like
mannerisms.
all it is like either praise it or neglect it. It's like, it's like it happened. It could, and if it didn't happen, it could never happen any other better way other than how it happened. No, Trump, whenever Trump did the NFTs, were the best thing that Trump did. Other like it was during the like whenever Biden was elected, like he was done for the 2020s.
Oh yeah.
But he had a coin. He had a gold coin, and the gold coin. Whenever he would go on to announce it, he'd be like, it's President Trump. Hopefully, your favorite president. Definitely more so than George Washington better than Lincoln. And that was my favorite thing. It's like he was like
sizing up to Lincoln.
no, because he said better than Lincoln, and he never came out and said like I'm Donald Trump, I'm better. It was like, hey, it's Donald Trump. Hopefully your favorite president, more so than George more so than George Washington, better than Lincoln. Just the way he said it though, better than Lincoln. Like
it's like he throws it out there and he's right about it.
Right, like he was saying, he was like claiming he was better than Lincoln. I'm like, bro, you can't. But he didn't, like, no fucks given with that little smirk.
He was dead serious. He really believed it, and you could see it in his face. You know, it's.
He was ready to sell them.
He's funny as fuck, dude.
He was ready to sell something for $1.
We have 40 years of guaranteed comedy. I mean, those COVID press conferences were hysterical. You remember the COVID press conferences they did every day? Like Fauci would go up and go, make sure you wear your mask and all this. He'd go up there and say.
They sent Fauci in to disrupt him too.
Yeah, he'd go up there.
Fauci was the spy.
He'd go up there and be like, you know, this guy, Fauci, he's gay.
Fauci was on, but he was on Fauci's side at the beginning.
And then he turned on him though.
Well, yeah, but then he found out that Fauci was like full of shit. He's like,
paid for. He's totally paid for, and he's like, he completely turned. Yeah, those COVID press conferences were hysterical. I liked when he fought with the journalists. That was my favorite. When he fought with, was it Tapper? From CNN, he fought with somebody. The guy was like, "What do you say to so many Americans that are scared of the virus and they could die?" And he just looks at him and dead serious. He goes, "I would say you're a terrible reporter." He completely didn't answer. He just answered with an insult.
No, if you ask Trump or say something to Trump like that he doesn't want to deal with, he just like he puts you down right there. Yeah. Even if it doesn't. Even if you're like, hang on, wait, what? He's like, it doesn't matter, we're past on.
Yeah, like it would be totally it would be like almost where you couldn't have a comeback. Like some lady would be like, can you tell us about your tax policy? He'd look at her and he'd just be like, your grandmother has herpes, and then like just like and then he just moved on. It's like, well, what do I say to that? She actually does have herpes. How did he know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh yeah, we are in for some really fucking funny press conferences. Come January, end of January, beginning of February, you are going to see, love him or hate him. You cannot tell me the dude is not fucking funny. He's hilarious.
Bro, nobody hates Trump now, like. Back in like 2016 or whatever he was running, dude, no one hates Trump now like they did then. People now are just like...
Except for The View.
Yeah, no, everyone who lost that
they really love him too.
No, people who really want the world to end, like all those hardcore like Democrats, because again, before I was against Trump, I wasn't for him. Yeah. I'm not 100% for him now, but it's like, bro, can you really expect me to get... Okay, the Democrats, anyone that's behind the Democrats is like, okay... 2016 or whatever, they betrayed Bernie Sanders and stabbed him in the back and said, here's Hillary Clinton. Here's Hillary Clinton.
Primaries.
And then, okay, I get that. And it's like, hang on a second. Did nobody see that? Well, hang on a second. It gets better. Yeah. I was like, no one saw that. No one was saying anything. But it's like, hang on, I noticed something that no one wants to talk about.
Yep.
And then this election, everyone was like, you need to vote for Joe Biden. I've never seen a president more competent. And they said that shit. More competent, more better to run this country than I've seen Joe Biden. And what happened? They had that debate. He did like as dumb as any other white fucking dude that did any other.
We beat Medicare.
Yeah. But then right after that, though, everyone was like, shh, Joe Biden, we can't have Biden. We need to have this new woman. It's like, bro, like not even less than like 24 hours ago, you were screaming for how this dude is the most important. Now you're switching over. You just did a Julius Caesar to the president without literally stabbing the fucker. Yeah, you did a coup, and then
he's still there. He had to eat it. He's still there eating it. Then they lose the election. Bro, the funniest thing to me though is you had a group of people who said that Trump was a threat to democracy, but not one of them voted for Kamala in the primary. That's the ironical thing. They voted for her for the first time. The first time.
Shit.
In this election. And I'm like, did you think of that? Where's her? I understand, yes, they needed to replace Biden. I get all that. And look, and mind you, like, I don't want to divide anybody, and I'm sure Kamala's a nice lady.
Everyone's already divided, bro. Come on now.
Fuck it. Let's go then now. I just like pull out my MAGA hat now. And so
Yeah,
like,
right.
the thing is though, like, she had not one primary vote. Not one. And they just like you mentioned, they fucked Bernie in 16. They also fucked RFK.
Well, yeah, like
Yeah, big time.
He could have been if they had
I don't think he's
RFK
gonna
running
be
against
primary,
Trump,
but still.
like they would have. But that like shows you though, whoever is like really like the stay-at-home politicians, like the ones that are never really having to like
Pelosi.
revolve around. Like Pelosi, one of them for sure.
She's running the DNC. She's gotta be.
Well, that's what I was saying too, though. Like, who's
She's
like
a gangster, man.
who was running? Dude, she comes from like even Michael, your uncle pointed this out.
He did.
Like
that's
that,
right.
like she comes from like a gangster family. Her dad was in like a mafia thing in like Illinois or
Gangsters.
St. Louis, one of those.
And by the way, I want to say something about Nancy Pelosi that's gonna throw people off. She's got the nicest tits ever. Have you seen pictures of her?
They gotta be fake, man. I don't like fake tits.
Dude, I don't care.
There's
I
some
touch
fake tits that I do like, though.
Hers,
I'll be honest with
dude,
you.
I'm telling you, there's pictures of her when she was younger.
Yeah.
But there was even one of her at the beach, maybe from a few years ago. Dude, her tits are fucking perfect.
From a few years ago.
Yes.
Yeah,
I was
but
like,
that's
dude,
what I'm saying.
I would ask to see him. I don't like her at all. I don't like her policies. But I'll tell you what, she could flash me. I would see those tits.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
Well,
I know.
I said this about Kamala. Like, I would bang Kamala Harris. Like,
I would too.
Like, that would
The
be
neck.
good, angry.
Her neck, though, bothers me.
She doesn't have fucking fish gills or nothing like that. She's all
No,
right.
it's like a turkey neck.
No, it's all right.
It's weird. But no, I would do it just to say, dude, guess what I did last night? I'd be like, what, bro? I fucked Kamala Harris. She totally tied me up and fucking had her way with me, and I liked it.
Nah, see, that's funny you say it like that, because it'd be the opposite of me. No, I fuck Nancy Pelosi. Really, that old hag? Oh yeah, dude.
I wouldn't fuck. I just would want to see her tits and touch them. If she, with her consent, of course. If she was like, you know what, you little California Republican, here, I'd be like, yes.
Bro, Nancy Pelosi's probably like one of them witches that like.
Maybe.
Bro, her fucking body from like probably the tits like down to the puss. It's probably fucking delicious. It's probably like 18.
I'm not
it's probably
making this
like
up. I'm gonna show you
18
a picture.
before vaginal intercourse,
I'm
bro.
dead
I
fucking
guarantee
serious
you.
about this.
Nancy Pelosi,
I'm-
let's have you on Nosotros Trabajamos Duro.
Those of you out there, okay, that are hating on me,
Listen,
what
honey.
you will, I don't care. Her tits are fucking
Right.
magical.
Nah, dude, like, honey, Pelosi, like, your time in politics is over. Like, listen, we
Get on
want you
this
to, like,
podcast in
listen, I'm
Sacramento.
gonna be her new producer and all that, or whatever. The politics is done. You gotta do a 2.5-year stint in porn. Not much. You just gotta show that bush one more time. Actually, show it like, dude, if Nancy Pelosi shows full bush, and then shows it with like a landing strip.
Yeah.
Dude, think about that shit.
I'm
Like
all
that,
for
she's
it.
got new money on that thing, bro.
I'm all for
Air
it.
Force One, bro. Think about how many presidents can land on that shit. Air Force One on that landing strip with Nancy Pelosi. God damn. Come on now.
I want to find. I'm trying to find the picture of her first younger. I already found the one of her at the beach. Okay, so
Who
this
was
is
who
this
was
is
the
the one
one
of her at
who?
the beach.
Who was the one?
I mean,
Who was
look
the?
at those.
That's not Nancy Pelosi.
That's Nancy Pelosi, dude. I swear, it's her.
That's
look
like-
at those.
Bro, that's someone's like fucking.
That's her.
That's someone's substitute.
No, dude,
teacher.
that's paparazzi.
That's someone's substitute teacher.
I swear to you, it's her. Those tits are fucking ridiculous.
They're fat, but like they're not that great.
I like them for some reason.
Nah,
maybe
man.
because I'm so against her policies. I'm trying to.
Maybe
find
nah.
something.
With that picture, send me that picture so I can show it on this podcast.
Yeah,
but nah,
I'll show it to
she
you.
needs to go to Vegas. She needs to go to Vegas and get some work done to be showing them tits off.
Oh, she's fucking
Listen,
there right now.
listen. Those tits with a little bit of makeup right now, like those are the ace of spades. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they are.
But
No, I want to find another one, dude. I'm telling you, she's got some bangers.
no, I know this one chick. She's
that's
60.
not her. What the fuck?
She's hot as fuck. Like I think she got a little bit of work done, but it's just the right amount to where.
Let me find a
she still
picture
look
for you.
good.
Know. Maybe if I don't search Nancy Pelosi boobs, Google will
Nancy.
show it to me. Because Google is.
Look up Nancy Pelosi or hammer. Remember when the dude came after he smacked her husband around with the hammer?
Dude, that's right. I forgot about that. There was conspiracies. I don't know if they're true, but there's conspiracies that was staged too. I don't know if it was.
Who knows?
I don't know who would stage
the real-
someone to get hit. I don't know how I would stage someone to hit me with a hammer. I'd be like, can you hit me with something else?
Bro, yeah, no. If you stage someone hitting you with a hammer, like you're seriously getting hit with a hammer, like for real.
Either that or he was just like, this is how I get the fuck away from Nancy.
Yeah, you would think, but I think he's still
Dude,
stuck
Google
with the hoe.
Dude, Google seriously scrubbed her fucking hot pictures. I'm so mad right now. I'm not making this up, dude. She was hot when she was young. So was, you know what's funny? So was Hillary Clinton. She was fucking hot when she was young.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton looked like fucking like Joni Mitchell when she was young.
There's a picture of Nancy when she's younger, like I think in a bikini or in a bra, either one, and it's fucking insanity, dude. It's like,
Really?
Are you serious? I'll find it and send it to you, because I'm not finding it right now. They're hating on me, dude. Google knows, because my IP address.
Oh yeah, no.
They're like,
Google
oh,
knows for
fuck
sure.
this
It knows when I'm
Republican.
up to something.
They're spying. They're like, dude, we're not gonna let him find this picture. I'll find it, dude. Trust me, I'll find it.
Yeah.
No, it's like her. She's got like darker hair, makeup, like not a lot of makeup, like dark lipstick on, and she's wearing like this bra, dude. She looks incredible. It's like the opposite of how she looks now. Now she looks like ugh, except.
But like
for
no,
tits,
but like we
obviously.
were talking about, like she is like she's mafia family descendant too,
100%.
right? Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
No, as soon as I
her
learned
and
that,
our Uncle Gavin, the governor, both of them.
oh shit, yeah. No, as soon as I learned that, I'm like, oh yeah, they're in. But that's what amazes me is how like people are willing like to go along like they do the right thing. They like really like you don't see what's blatantly in front of you, and you're still lying to yourself somehow.
Lying, dude. They're full of shit. Both sides, even my party, Republican Party, they are full of shit.
Oh
too,
yeah,
dude.
for real. Like, that's why I'm independent. Like lately, like I lean more like Republican in a sense, but it's like, dude, the Democrats have gone so far on the one end. It's like you're about the same as like President Bush in fucking 2004 and all this blah blah blah.
They went crazy.
But with a more extreme, you're like George Bush if you could have Barnum's circus.
Yes.
Around him, like that's how I
Yes.
feel like that the DNC is. Yeah, you're like the fucking like if you could have Barnum's circus around you, that's who the DNC is. They just added a circus around them to make them like look better. It's like we don't want that.
No, not at all. Just run the country and help us like not have to pay more for shit than we do now. That would be great. And then less wars would be great
Yeah.
too. And not giving our money to wars that are just completely fucking useless. I'm good with that. You know?
Like who isn't like that's one thing like too with like today's thing is like why are they all like the left it seems like more gung ho to give money towards war when it was like a few years ago and like prior even to that you were against war then. What changed all of a sudden?
And then the border, like they went crazy with that. Like Obama actually had the nickname of deporter in chief.
Really?
Because he deported more illegals than Bush did. Like he had the most. And then, Trump comes in, they seal it. I think he even still, to be fair, Obama had 2 terms and now Trump's going to have a second. It's like split like Grover Cleveland was. But Obama in his 2 terms collectively had more deportations. Like he had a lot of them. The border was actually pretty strict. And if you go to other countries, which I have, if you go to other countries, they are so strict on anybody that goes to their country.
Yeah, for real.
100%.
Except like some of the European countries where it's basically just where it's almost a state. Well, even then they still had to check, but it was always like you had to go through a thing and they'd look at your papers and it was like they'd push the cross thing and you'd drive through it.
Yeah,
but
like in Europe a lot it's laxed, but like a country like Australia, or even like, and to be fair, New Zealand's a small country, but I had friends, their parents, I had a couple friends that moved to New Zealand, badass place to live. That's where all the Lord of the Rings is from, and they told me how much money you had to have in your account and all the things you had to do to become a citizen there. It's like ridiculous.
oh yeah, no, for like other countries to become a citizen there, yeah, like it's
Or just to live there. Like if you plan to live there longer than just like a visit, like a couple weeks or maybe even like a month or something. Like if you plan to live there for long term, the things you have to do are so expensive just to live there. They make it where you're like, nope, I'm staying in America. Like, that's how hard it is. Australia, I hear, is one of the hardest countries too. Even traveling there, I mean, I've never been, but you know, I hear they have a strict policy on this. And I mean, not a lot of people go to Australia anyway, but you know, my point though still is like other countries make it way harder than we do right now the way it is at the southern border. It's crazy.
No, you're right on that. Like, well, like even they gave Johnny Depp and like that one crazy bitch at the time, Amber Heard. Like whenever they showed up in town and they had the dogs, they were like,
"Poopy pants, Amber Heard."
Right?
Yeah.
Shit. But
bro, shit the bed, Amber Bird.
Man, the thing is about like that chick is still hot as fuck.
She's fucking gorgeous, dude.
Even though I know all that damage, if she came to me like tonight and was like, "I'd suck your dick," I'd be like, fucking
done.
Yeah, just come to bed. I don't even give a fuck.
I don't care. You can take me to court anytime you want.
Johnny
I
Depp.
don't give a shit.
That's his thought too. He was like, you know what?
Fucked her.
Yeah. No, he looked. He was like, you know what? That pussy's good. All that damage that came with that pussy, it was good. And that, bro, that's another statement. I guess us as men. Like, if that pussy is good, we'll take all that damage with it.
Dude, he used one of the Pirates movies to pay for it.
Yeah.
He used and you know it's funny, ironically speaking, Pirates of the Caribbean, was it the second one or the third one called Dead Man's Chest? I think that's what he calls her pussy now.
Yeah, I think that was it. I think it was the fourth one, because that was the one when they went to Australia, and then in Australia it was like they brought in dogs or something. It's like, really? Like some asshole's gonna use like the government to attack like a Hollywood celebrity to make world news.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, this is over like $100,000. You know what I mean? This is pocket change for you all, but for the rest of like the world, it's like, come on, dude. This is too big of money for people to really care about, dude.
Yeah.
We all know you're all rich. Fuck you.
It's like, come on, man. Yeah, I don't get it. But things got crazy. We'll see what happens, man. What else did we cover everything?
I think so. I mean, I'm still like down to chat. I mean, what else? We could talk more about the mafia influence and stuff. I think about that and all.
Yeah, I got a few, and then I got to get home. But yeah, so where do we want to go with the mafia?
Like I know how we had talked about how you'd grown up, and like you didn't know your dad was in. Like, was there ever a suspicion that your dad might have been in the mob whenever you were getting older? After I know when you met him at like Six Flags, like you probably didn't think anything then. But was there a short time after that? They were like, hang on, my dad kind of suspiciously fits.
I knew he was a bad guy because my grandmother, when I was very young, I said, you know, because I didn't understand. I saw other kids with their mom and dad. And then my mom had me when she was 18, turning 19. She's dating a couple guys. And my mom, you know, let's just be honest. My mom was a really, and she still is, very attractive woman. She was a really hot mom when I was young. And all my friends used to give me shit about it.
Yeah, no. Mob dudes are known for having good taste. So, like,
she's a good-looking lady. Beautiful lady. My mom's very beautiful. But, you know, she was in her 20s when I was a kid, so she was dating. I remember, like, the funniest thing is back before voicemail, you had answer machines. Yeah. So, like, hearing these guys, these fucking pathetic losers, leave her a fucking answer machine message, be like, hey, you know, you haven't been returning my calls. I just want you to know I miss you. I called you 3 times. The last time I called, it said that I couldn't leave because your answer machine was full. So I noticed I'm leaving you a message now, and it's not full anymore. So I thought I would leave a message. So here I am. And, you know, I thought I'd call and check on you, and I'd be listening to it like, who the fuck is this guy, Mom? Mom's like, oh God, you know, he'll stop calling. Don't worry about it.
He'll stop calling.
But no, so I knew he was a bad guy because I asked my grandma, I said, you know, why isn't my dad here? You know, like everyone else has a dad. I don't have a dad. I don't understand. And she went, I don't want him around. And I went, oh shit. And she said it like with like that kind of like that tone I just had. Like, yeah, I don't want him around. And then my mom didn't say anything. She like almost let her mom, my grandma, talk for the situation. my grandmother was like, I don't want him around. He's not a good guy. That's it. That's all you need to know. And early on, that was before I met him. I met him and I went, there's something up with this dude. He gives me the willies. I don't know what it is about him.
That's interesting too, yeah.
So, and then, time goes on and I just don't think about it. I don't talk to him, and I had a stepdad. My mom got married. I do have a little brother. He's my half brother. And it's cool because it's funny when people see us side by side, they'll go, your brother's black. And I'm like, well, yeah, his dad's black, so,
That's my half brother, asshole.
Like, but then they'll look and they'll see some resemblance, and it's just, I enjoy it, man. I think it's awesome. It definitely gives me...
That's real America.
Yeah, it gives me a unique view on race and being white, and, when people... And I tried to joke about having white privilege, and it doesn't go well. It tends to be pretty dark. And I try to joke about it, but as soon as anybody hears the phrase white privilege, it becomes very serious. So I stopped going there for now. Maybe I'll tap into it later on, but especially pre-election, people were just
let them get to know you. Let them get to know you.
A little bit more. To know that I'm not coming from like a menacing, I'm just trying to make fun of myself.
Yeah.
You're
making fun of a dark subject.
Honestly, I don't think I have ever had. I was actually told to my face at my ex-employer, I was told to my face by my boss, and I do have a bit about this, but I was told, Christopher, you do a great job for us, but and this is during COVID, I was told that I'm not allowed to promote you because you're a white male. And I went, well, so much for fucking white privilege. God damn.
Yeah, right. Hang on a second. As soon as you hear that,
and I didn't feel sorry for myself because I knew that happened to people who are white a lot. I'm sure there's white people in power who said, I didn't promote this person because they're a person of color. I know that's happened a lot more than it's happened to a guy like me. So that's why, and like you said, don't feel sorry for yourself. And I didn't. I was like, okay, I'll just fucking find something else. So what? It didn't happen, oh well. It wasn't meant to be, whatever. So, but, the point is, though, like, having this diverse family and growing up where I grew up, it's cool because it does show you, the funny parts about, like, what is a white guy's tendencies and, like, how they make fun of me for them. I appreciate it, especially for comedy. Like, it's so much fun to make fun of myself and to make fun of whiteness, I guess you can call it. Because I never really, like, grew up around having a bunch of white guy friends. I was always the one white guy in the group. So it was always like, okay, I don't even know what I am. Like, I don't know what it means to have whiteness, or, like, what is it? Does it mean like that I have an affinity for Nickelback? Like, what does it mean?
Yeah,
because I don't like Nickelback.
Okay. Yeah, if someone says whiteness around me, it's like, oh yes, and like Nickelback, Creed listening motherfucker.
Yeah, corn nuts and Gatorade, or bro, let's go to the lake with our spy glasses.
Exactly, the no flavored, like, white people, like all salt, no pepper or garlic and all that kind of shit.
It's like, dude, fucking turn up the garlic. I love spices, like.
That's some of them. Like, they suck. But yeah, it's a drag.
I guess it's like the assumption that you're racist, which is like, it's not. I'm not racist. I might be sexist. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm not none of those things. But like, I guess the assumption of racism is a big thing, and it's like, again, I grew up around so many non-white families, non-white people, that, a guy like me being racist, I don't think I would have lived for very long. I would have got shot. And this time they would have killed me. I was shot twice in a drive-by. I would have been killed. So, and the thing is, I like to get to know other people who look different than me or think different than me. Genuinely, I really do enjoy to get to know somebody who. I remember when I first met somebody from Jamaica. Remember when I first, because in the area I grew up in, we didn't have a lot of people who were Muslim. And I finally got to meet some folks that were Muslim families, and I went to their house, and they were always really nice. And God, is Indian food phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Holy hell, dude! Indian food is I love
Muslim and I was saying, you're talking about.
It's not always Muslim Indians, but like, that's just.
I'm just saying, like, the food, but the food is really similar though. Mm-hmm. Like Muslim food, like, it's all like kind of like that Mediterranean diet.
Mediterranean food. Yeah, it's phenomenal, dude.
But no, I love that shit. Lamb is like one of my favorite fucking things of all time.
Hell yeah, dude. But like the more cultures, and I've traveled all over the country of Mexico. I used to go there, and You know, I'm Catholic, so I'd go with, you know, the parish I was at the time on like at a mission. We'd help build houses or things like that. So I learned a lot when I traveled all around Mexico about a lot of different history, culture, different people. Because people think of like Mexican people, like I met indigenous people that were like the nicest folks, and they also, you know, they never saw a white guy ever. I was in Chiapas. And they were looking at me like, what the hell are you? You know, and they would talk to me and they'd say, can I try some English with you? And I'm like, sure, I can't speak your native language, so have at it, man. Like, cool. And, yeah, I mean, it's cool, you know, you get to meet different people and find out that, you know, cultures and food and different, like, even art. Like, you can find out some cool art. I like to get to know people who are different than me, 100%. I always have. I had to, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
No, hell yeah. No, and too, and some of those like girls in Mexico, like those true like Native American, like with their black hair and everything, like, dude, they're some like the most beautiful in the whole fucking world.
Holy
Man.
hell! I went to Veracruz to a nightclub, and I can't tell you how many of like these smoking like chicks probably now that have like OnlyFans, right? They look just like that. And at the time I had a girlfriend, and she was like, we're getting out of here. I'm tired of these girls hitting on you because you're white. And I'm just
You
like,
should have
well,
brought them home with her too.
Well, I told her, I said, that was kind of racist at what you just said. No, I'm No, but I remember they would come up to me because they knew I was American. Not even just that I was just white, that I was just American, right?
Yeah.
They hear me talking English, and they would just throw themselves at me. And you're right, like they were like just from head to toe beautiful, but they were fucking crazy. A lot of them were just trying to get out of the cartel.
That's my type. I hate to say it, but
it was mine too. That's why I was in the kitchen for a while. God damn it. Yeah, dude. No, I mean, but I did meet indigenous women, and it was amazing to me how much they would do to make it ends meet. They would walk miles to go work somewhere. Even their kids would walk, and they didn't go to school. That's crazy. They lived in a pueblo, which is like a village.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know, just feeling like, man, we are very fortunate in the United States. We really are, especially here in the Sacramento, greater Sacramento area, versus where I was. I had a little girl, she could have been older than 6. She was trying to sell me beads, and I was just like, you know, no gracias. I was trying to do my best to tell her, no thank you. I didn't even have any money. I had nothing on me.
Yeah.
And I had a Gatorade with me, though, and then she just gave up her sales pitch, and my girlfriend at the time translated. She goes, she's asking, can I have your Gatorade? I'm thirsty. And I just gave it to her. I was like, oh, yes. I'm like, have it, please.
Yeah.
I was like, can I get you anything else? I felt so bad that this little girl who wasn't in school, she was working to make anything happen to go and get food or whatever she needed to do. God knows if the cartel was there threatening, who knows. And she just wanted my Gatorade. And I was like, I felt so bad. You know, it's just like, that's the kind of stuff you see when you go somewhere else other than where you live. You see how they live, and you feel like, man, you know, the things I complain about, like when I'm bitching about traffic or, you know, God damn it, Starbucks, you ran out of this or that. It's like I start to think like, man, I've been in places where they would clamor at the chance to complain about something like that. You know what I mean?
No, so, I follow.
Yeah, it gives you perspective for sure.
Yeah, for real. No, I've wanted to go out of the country for several different times and everything like that, but I've always known that's like the concept too. But it's like, yeah, you gotta be aware of it. But I'm surprised too, people like aren't kind of like, if you don't travel that much, you're not kind of like, you don't really kind of like.
You have no perspective.
Yeah, you have no concept or perception that this is like, what goes on here doesn't necessarily go on to the same like level as over there.
Not even close, man. Especially places like Mexico. And the more indigenous places I've been to, even the big cities, man, like the infrastructure is so bad. You got buildings, you got people, full families, their apartment crashes, they all die because like it was never kept up. They're all clamoring to come here to build us nice houses. So it's like, you know, when you see that, you really start to think like, oh shit, you know, we don't have it as bad as sometimes I feel like we might.
Right. But you say like building like houses and stuff. They build new houses over here and they still like sell them for like $2,100. It's like, hang on a second, bro. You're building an apartment building, whatever you're building.
Yeah.
You can't sell a room for like 500 or something.
And we're
That's
throwing
like-
together like sheds, kind of house, not like full on blown construction with architecture, like a blueprint. Like it's like we're just trying to get them something to keep out of the rain.
Yeah, no, I get you.
That's pretty much it. But yeah, man. I mean the mafia it's crazy because like the cartel, that's organized crime I've seen up close and personal, and it's crazy how embedded they are in places like Mexico. Mm-hmm. And for me, just because they don't have a resource for America to want to go get like oil, we don't call them by the name that they should be called, which is terrorists. They're completely
more so than what the American mafia, because like I mean I've seen how some of the cartel run stuff, so I'm like, like okay, I can see the mafia thing, but like they run stuff more. And another friend of mine, or a friend of ours, I guess I could say this because they're also a comic. He was like, they have a lot of the cartels as like Aztecs because like their actions are so violent. And I'm like, that makes so much sense.
It does
it
make
comes
sense.
from like an Aztec thing. But yeah, the cartels act in a violent fucking way to where like
vicious, dude.
I know the mafia, like even I think Michael Francese and Sammy talk about it, like Sammy the Bull. Where it's like the mob sends your best friend to kill you. They send you in like a room where it's like, what's going on tonight? We gotta have a conversation, numbers that add up, right? Okay, Tommy, I'll come in. And if you're walking in, it's like you're talking, it's just like boom.
It could be your birthday. They put on a nice big party. You go to the back, they shoot you in the head. You can get in the car. I've heard stories from my Uncle Sonny and that scene in Goodfellas where that pain in the ass guy with the hair thing, Maury, when Pesci stabs him up the back of his head with the big needle, and it's like
the ice pick and all of that.
It's like that guy was supposed to be his friend. Or even in Godfather Part 1 where they drove the guy out to the field, he's like, where the hell are we driving? Oh, I gotta go take a leak. The guy goes to take a leak, the other guy shoots him in the head in the back seat. Yeah, they're very sneaky about it. And the thing about the mafia, especially Italian mafia, they're very calculated, and it's always directly tied to like money.
It was never I'm gonna kill someone because they're like whatever. It was always like money related, or you fucked up doing something.
Fucked up. You got in a fight, or you touched somebody in the wrong family. You fucked some girl you shouldn't have fucked. I mean, it was something would happen. And there was always a price, and usually it was very violent. It led to death, and as they say, right, sleeps with the fishes. Luca Brasi, that whole thing. But it's all very calculated with them. It's like, and they map out. It's almost like an assassination attempt. They have to like really map out and really calculate. Like when Michael shot the cop and the one guy from the other family in the restaurant. Yeah. They had to like map it out. They put the gun behind the toilet. It's like
they have military precision behind their hits and shit like that.
Yeah, they did. When they whacked somebody, it was always somebody got out of line, but they did it in a way where it didn't. It was rare they wanted to like make it a public thing. Now there's some guys, the only way they can touch them is that they shoot them up in public. Yeah, that's the only way they can do it. And then the betrayal though is the thing that's so calculated to me when you read about these guys we've talked about. When there's cases of betrayal within their own family, if it's an enemy, those people might have been friends at one point, done business together. And because that one guy did something another guy didn't like or got in the way of the business, they're like, we gotta whack him, gotta get him out of here. Yeah. So that a lot of that went on, and then the whole witness protection program. Like my uncle Michael, he had to take some serious deals to get out of that 50-year sentence because he was locked away, I think in the 70s, before the 80s. For a lot of charges. He defrauded the government out of gas tax. I remember he talked about.
And whenever you piss off the government with money,
you're done. You're done. You're asking for it. So, my dad worked in those kind of things. I hear about. Again, I didn't know him, so I didn't get a chance to really get his. And he didn't turn his life around. I mean,
yeah, like you said, he went back into it.
He got himself killed 5 years ago.
which is crazy, yeah, because I was thinking about that when he had said it, but then made me think about like the Sopranos too, because that's almost like kind of like Phil Leotardo and his crew. He was around for a long minute. He would then like, well, Phil Leotardo and the Sopranos fiction and everything, but still he went to jail. He was out for a minute. He comes back, he's doing well, but he still does something to piss somebody off, and they whack him eventually.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. They're cutthroat.
But and with that too, like what's interesting is because I remember watching, and again it's another movie, but they take it from like truth and all that. But the movie with because I'm Jewish on my side. I hate that blank on brother's name right now. Meyer Lansky. Because I love Meyer Lansky because he was just a smart gangster and everything too. But with Meyer Lansky in the one movie they had about him, they were talking about like kind of coming into the modern age. It was like, yeah, back whenever we would probably scare someone, even like or shoot them or whack them, it's just like now we hit them in their pocket, they owe money, and it's easier for us to collect money than it is to kill someone, hide them, and then chances are we have to rebury them again or something like that.
100%.
To where
and you can't get away with murder like you did in the heyday of the mob, which was early 1900s, maybe even the 70s, 80s. They hit a pretty big business peak because of the casinos and everything. Now it's like making a person disappear is pretty much impossible. Everyone is so connected, and I prefer that. It's like, dude, I mean, I really hate violence, but these guys, like you said, they have to hit you where it really hurts and go, okay, we're not going to go the homicidal route. We're going to go the financial route and hopefully make something of this.
Right.
Did it die again?
Yeah, it did, but I mean, we'll keep on like the conversation a little bit, and then we'll probably like end it after that. But but like no, like we were talking about, like they hit you in the pocketbook, or do whatever. I mean, like if you want to keep going for a second, or is there anything you kind of want to like end on, or
I probably should get home.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know we've been going for a minute, which is good. But
yeah, it was badass, dude. We talked about a lot.
Oh yeah, no, there's like more too I could follow up on for sure. Because like I could always talk about the mafia and be like, damn, I didn't ask that question. But no, I like again, I think it's just interesting where you actually have like a background, like where your dad comes from it. I think it's cool where you didn't really like grow up in it, but you kind of got to know a little bit about it afterward.
Yeah. Especially in adult life, just tidbits from family members who were all like, look, your dad, bad guy, sorry, but this is what we know. And my mom, even I remember, was like, look, if you want to reach out to him, I don't blame you, but just know what you're getting into. And I never did. I never took it upon myself to. I remember there was a rumor from my uncle. He goes, I think he's back in Medford. I think he's hiding again. So
oh shit! Like hiding, like go look for him.
Yeah, or he thinks he saw him working somewhere.
Oh shit, that's
and
crazy.
I was like, I'm good, dude. I'd rather not. It's probably for the best.
That I think is interesting. Fuck, we'll have to do this like if you can do this again. Like what's tomorrow? Sunday. If you can do this like another day here soon, I'll be down for that too. So
yeah.
Like, what was it that he probably ended up, like, hiding out again? Because I know you said he was hiding the first time.
Yep.
And then he went back, and I guess no one was looking for him, and so he's like, fuck it, I'm going to get back into what I was doing.
He clearly, something must have happened with him, or threats, or who knows, like we talked about earlier, betrayal. And he maybe saw Michael, or he maybe saw, what's his name? The bull.
Oh, Sammy.
He probably saw these guys, like, getting on social media, like, I turned my life around. He's like, oh, maybe I could do that. That's my suspicion. I don't know. But he was just so in deep. And being a soldier, being the level he was kind of a grunt. He was never a higher-up guy, a boss, or anything like that.
He never made it to a capo or whatever.
He never would. He was so in and out, and he was trying to run away from it seemed like. But when I met him the one time, he looked like a capo. I mean, he was like fucking legit. Dressed to the nines, played the part, acted the part. I barely had any interaction with him. It was weird.
Well, that's almost kind of like, I think in The Sopranos, Paulie Giardi, I can't remember what his name, Giardi or something like that. But Paulie, he was like somewhat of a captain, but not really. Because it seemed like he always was like, like, you know, he still had to toss up money to Tony because he was the Don or whatever. But Paulie, he seemed like he was like in there for like a long ass time, but he was never really a capo. He was still like a soldier, but like an older like runner where he didn't have to do as much. In a sense.
He was just a grunt basically.
Yeah. And I guess you feel like your dad was kind of the same way.
Yeah, kind of similar role. He probably did the dirty work. He maybe did the beatings or the killings. Who knows? But he was the leg guy. He was the guy that went on the road, traveled. He didn't seem to be anybody ever higher up. Is what I got from my Uncle Sonny. You know, he's just like, look, your dad's always somewhere. Like I don't know where the fuck he is, but he's always gone. He's always disappearing. So who knows what he's doing?
Nah, that's cool. Like in a way, I want to, because the character of Ralph in The Sopranos isn't that great, but it kind of makes me think of Ralph is because Ralph is one of those dudes that's like, he's making us money, but fuck, he's who knows where he's at. Like, you know what I mean? Ralph is in Florida. Ralph came back.
Probably at a strip club somewhere in Florida, or you know, he's probably fucking, you know, beating up some guy that tried to rob him. Who knows? You know, who knows? Shit.
I hate it, but I love the Italian mafia. I like it again. I'm Jewish though too. I love the Jewish mafiosos as well. That whole living in a secret society doing shit. I don't that appeals to me, and I love it. If you're doing something crazy, dude, and especially in comedy, because it's almost the closest to it that you can. It's like you don't have to worry as far as someone coming and checking in your taxes or whatever, but it's like, look, I'm living off the edge. Hey, however I make money, did someone get beat up? Did someone get hurt? No, we're doing all right.
Yeah, we're just trying to be funny.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Oh